It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, a classic episode. Patrick Norton, John C. Dvorak, Philip Elmer-DeWitt will talk about Apple's self-driving car. Could that be real? Philip says it is. Google's plans for solar power and Facebook and what it's going to do when you die. It's all coming up next on Twit.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Twit This Week in Tech, episode 497, recorded February 15th, 2015. It's pronounced Kiev. This Week in Tech is brought to you by Personal Capital. With Personal Capital, you can grow and protect your wealth. Best of all, it's free. And for a limited time, Twit viewers can qualify for up to $10,000 on any new account. To sign up, go to personalcapital.com/twit. And by lynda.com. Invest in yourself and start learning today. Lynda.com has thousands of courses to help you learn new tech, business, and creative skills. For a free 10-day trial, visit lynda.com/twit2. That's lynda.com/twit and the number 2. And by audible.com. Sign up for the Platinum Plan and get 2 free books. Visit audible.com/twit2. And don't forget to follow Audible on Twitter. User ID audible_com. And by Casper, an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price, because everyone deserves a great night's sleep. Get $50 off any mattress purchase by visiting casper.com/twit and entering the promo code TWIT. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, the show where we cover the latest tech news with a panel of technology journalists expert in the field, or not. Doesn't really matter.
Not anymore.
Doesn't matter anymore. Patrick Norton's here from Tech Thang.
Not an expert.
Not an expert, but he plays one on TV, so that's okay.
On the internet.
On the internet. On TV, on the internet.
On TV internet.
TV internet. Internet TV.
Video.
I bet you're an expert in internet TV.
Let's just not put the audience to sleep this early.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about encoding. I don't want to talk about RSS feeds.
No, there's good stuff to talk about, but we'll get to that. Okay. Also with us, John C. Dvorak.
C stands for
Crepuscular.
See you later.
See you later.
Cryptography.
Crypto.
We can't sync that or we'll get...
Yes, noagendashow.com.
I missed you.
That's what it stands for.
It didn't take long to get that in.
Nah, I got to get it in fast.
I missed you. I haven't seen you in it's been months and months. You've been busy.
It's been 1 month.
You were in D.C.? Were you in D.C.?
I was not in D.C. Was I in D.C.?
I was told you were in Washington, D.C.
No, I was in Washington.
Oh, Washington State. Oh, never mind. All right.
Yes.
I had this whole thing, Mr. Dvorak goes to
back
Washington.
in Washington.
Yeah, you don't want to be. Speaking of cold, Philip Elmer-DeWitt's here from underneath 6 feet of snow in Massachusetts.
Well, Boston had 6 feet. We had about 3.5 feet here in Greenfield.
Oh, you're a punter. How could, wait a minute. Now, why would the city get more snow? It's right there. It's on the Gulf Stream. It should be warmer. You're in Western Massachusetts, right?
Right, but it's because the city's on the sea. It's, there's more moisture to make more. Generally these storms have been coming up the coast and dumping lots of snow on the coast and less inland.
Philip's a regular for, you were Time's first computer writer.
Yeah. Now I write a blog for Fortune about Apple.
A blog for Fortune about Apple. Sounds like your world is kind of narrowed.
Yeah, boy, I love it. There's nothing, a beat is a gift. Because you only have to worry about one thing.
Yeah.
My email address, if you want to put it up there, is ped@mac.com.
And if you've got any leaks or stories, actually, I'm curious what you think about this Fakatka, in my opinion, Reuters story that Apple's getting to self-driving cars.
Yeah, well, that was a Business Insider rumor that they just spun, and that Reuters picked it up. Just doesn't speak very well for Reuters.
Reuters says, according to an anonymous source, which always makes me a little bit nervous, the source, who declined to be named, said that Apple is interested in making cars, not individual components or automotive software, but they want to build cars, probably self-driving cars. This sounds
like a hoax.
It sounds like the Apple TV rumor.
Well,
No.
and it's funny because Gene Munster, who has been pushed, he's been saying that the Apple TV is just a year away.
It was his
for
fabrication.
like 7 years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I was all in.
So he said, well, we're going to get an Apple TV before we get a self-driving car. Someone pointed out to me that, and I think he's right. Someone pointed out that in testimony, Eddie Q said that it was Schiller said that they were working on a car before they decided to make the phone, which makes the Apple car idea 8 years old already, 9 years old already, and you have to know how to make cars first, and you have to know before you can make a self-driving car, right?
It seems like a big chunk to.
Yeah,
but Apple's got a lot of cash. Wall Street Journal on Friday confirmed it. They said Apple has set up a secret lab working on the creation, it's just so ridiculous to me, of an Apple-branded electric car, citing people familiar with the matter. That's almost as good as an anonymous source. The lab was set up late last year, soon after Apple revealed its forthcoming smartwatch. The Journal said the Apple project, codenamed Titan, employed several hundred people working a few miles from Apple's headquarters in Cupertino. And apparently they've met with contract manufacturers. Patrick, you're a car guy. Do you know the name Magna Steyr in Austria, a unit of Magna International?
I've heard it at least once.
Do they make cars?
I have no idea what they make. So autonomous vehicles are coming. Autonomous vehicles at the luxury level will probably be here in 2020, right?
Magna, by the way, makes automotive systems.
Yeah. I mean, we already have assisted driving. Some really cool assisted driving stuff is going to hit like 2016, 2017. Depending on who you're asking, like 2018 to 2080, like 2020, you're talking about a fairly sophisticated level of autonomous vehicle. I'd like to take a moment to point out that, everybody thought Tesla was going to fall on its face. Everybody thought, oh, yeah, the PayPal guy is going to start a car company. Nobody really, who would have thought that Apple could have pulled together, the iPhone? And judging from the stories, there was a beautiful story in the New York Times where they talked about sort of behind the scenes at the debut of the original iPhone.
Wasn't that a great story?
Yeah.
That was from a book called Dogfight, which is about the Apple-Google battle.
And you could just smell the baling wire in that story. The idea that they were just keeping it together. And then they shipped the product on time.
While Steve Jobs is demonstrating the first iPhone in 2007, are sitting in the front rows at Moscone West, taking a shot every time a bit of the demo works, because they know that there's a distinct path that Jobs could follow, and if he deviates in the least, the iPhones will crash.
Yeah.
They just won't do it.
And then they will be finding new jobs.
Right. So they're taking a shot. He said, by the end of the demo, we were drunk, but we were ecstatic because it worked.
This is a good thing.
Isn't it a great? It's a great story.
It was just to interrupt. Is it possible, because it's always been Apple's contention that because of Eric being on the board, that Apple should have owned the whole iPhone or the smartphone market a little longer than it did, but the Google guys steal the product, essentially, make a copy, come up with their own operating system. That this is it's kind of a get back, needle them, and make it look, because Google's the head of the driverless car, so let's let Apple come in there and mess with them, just to mess with them.
Just for fun, let's tie in the whole, what's Uber worth now, more than the EU at this point in terms of its market value, some insane number. I am not particularly an Uber enthusiast. I am probably alone in the panel on that. But if Apple thinks Uber's going to give Google a metric ton of money, if for no other reason than jerking around stock prices, would they start rumors on autonomous car?
I don't think Apple would do it just to mess with people.
Why not?
I don't know. That seems kind of childish. We have an expert. Wait a minute, Philip Elmer-DeWitt. You're the Apple guy. Would Apple be childish like that?
I assume Apple is going to look at every possible product that they could monetize. If there's a product that they could make better than anybody else makes it, they're going to look at trying to do it. And it's perfectly. I believe the Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times, who've actually put automotive reporters on this story, which is why we're starting to get some detail and some names and some numbers of people. So they're working on it. They could be doing any number of things. They could be building Apple's version of Google's Street View. That car that we saw driving around with all those cameras.
What was that car? Yeah. Was it an autonomous vehicle? Was it a street view car? What was it?
Well, Apple doesn't have a permit to drive autonomous vehicles, so it's unlikely that it was. But there's a number of things it could have been doing. One of them is making really good maps to compete with Google Maps. It could have been making really good maps to try out an autonomous vehicle. Right. They're going to look at it. They've got smart people. They're going to hire smart people. Maybe it'll be a product. Maybe it won't. They're going to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Google does that too. They've got enough cash to say, well, let's see what happens here.
A couple, sort of going a little bit macro though. Munster points out that investors are always looking for, is it possible that Apple has another winner, somewhere that they're working on in a secret lab, and so it doesn't hurt. Right. For the stock's value to float this kind of rumor. And then someone else pointed out that you've got a lot of really smart engineers at Apple who must be getting sick of doing the iPhone 5, the iPhone 5S, the iPhone 6, the iPhone 6S. That's pretty boring for a real smart engineer. So to have a new project that's completely different, that's not another iPhone, could keep these guys around, because otherwise they're going to leave.
Here's a question for you. Would an Apple car have a brake and accelerator pedal? Or wouldn't they just want to combine the two into one pedal?
One button.
Or maybe...
no button.
No button. That's what I'm saying. You wave at it.
No
so maybe you go like this and the car goes forward. You go like this and it slows down. You swipe left to turn left. Swipe right to turn right.
Well, I think the Apple
that's
way...
exactly what I want.
Well, there's no reason in terms of like low or high speed maneuvering you couldn't use a joystick to do it, right? There's adaptive driving systems that allow
like
people
a
to drive the car.
You just lean in the direction you want the car to go,
and you'll never have an accident, right? Because people don't figure out ways to have accidents with superior technology.
Someone in the chat room says, "Take the drugs off Leo." Someone, please.
Well, 2016 is I'm pretty sure 2016 it is as of 2016 it will be legal to test.
Looking for the drugs.
Sorry. Now, I think as of 2016, it will be legal in the state of California to test vehicles without steering wheels or pedals. I don't know if that's a Wikipedia hack.
No, I believe it, because if you look at the current Google self-driving car doesn't have any controls. You get in and it goes, and you don't. It's a little. I think consumers are not going to want that, because they're going to want the feeling that, I could override this if I wanted to.
For a while.
Yeah, eventually they're just going to do. They saw that Mercedes-Benz that basically it was a living room on wheels. The concept car from CES.
Sure, I read about that in a William Gibson novel 25 years ago.
It looked like it also you could turn off the windows so you wouldn't have to see what's going on outside, which I would need.
Or so the people outside couldn't see what you were doing in the car on I-5
I might need that as well. All right, so Philip, you're giving some credibility to the, and I guess you're right, since it's the Journal of Financial Times, it's a lot of sources now at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they've hired people. But Apple doesn't usually come out with products until other people have sort of perfected the idea and the public's ready for it, and then they'll make the best car or whatever kind of car they're making.
But seriously, this is a new Apple. You got to acknowledge that it's not necessarily good. That's how they've always done it in the past, but I don't think there's any reason to think Tim Cook wouldn't want to break some new ground too, right?
Well, but they're not going to make a product till the public's ready to buy it in large numbers. They can get their.
They're focused on profits. They're not focused on blue sky research.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that. Although when you have,
they've got enough money.
160 billion in cash.
Amount into research.
They'll do some of it away.
Yeah, they'll do the blue sky research. They just won't release a product until it's ready.
Right, or word of it. And remember when Cook was talking to Charlie Rose last fall, he said, "We are working on stuff that has never been rumored. No one has said anything about, that no one knows about." So maybe that's what he was talking about.
Linens.
Sure. I mean, there's all kinds of robotic stuff.
You would. A lot of people would.
I'd buy Apple linens. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we have much more to talk about. Philip Elmer-DeWitt from Fortune Magazine is here, and it's not too snowy where he is, so that's nice. John C. Dvorak. Yeah, stop today. John C. Dvorak is here from noagendashow.com. That crackpot podcast where anything goes.
It's not crackpot in the least. You haven't listened to it for probably 3 years.
I've never listened to it.
Okay, well then you wouldn't know.
The False Flag Show, right? That's where you talk about false flag. What is it called? False Flag?
NoAgendaShow.com.
Yeah, okay. Find out more about that there.
We have a bunch of people that write in and say, I've been hearing about you talking about this show for the last 3 years. I finally listened to it.
And it's not bad,
I'm thinking,
they say.
I'm thinking, what kind of push does it, what is Leo, because they say I'm listening to Twit, I hear you. I'm thinking, does it take 3 years for me to sell somebody just to listen to a show?
People, on the other hand,
is,
are buying mattresses from one ad.
And they are, and I think if you'd say something good about the show.
I could help you?
Instead, I never listened to it.
I have never listened to it, so how can I recommend it?
Well, maybe you should listen to it and recommend it. Then I'd be making.
Have you ever listened to No Agenda?
I have.
What do you think?
I think it's a sophisticated discussion of.
No, it's not.
Well, how would you know? You just said you never listened to it.
Because you and Curry are on it.
Oh, you hate Curry.
I don't hate Curry. I just question his
No.
mental facilities.
You hate him.
I don't hate him. I have no opinion
I
about it. I don't even know the guy.
I wish I could get you two together. You'd love each other.
This is a wonderful time to thank the people that bring Twit.
I'm going to do an ad, but the only time I've talked to Adam Curry, he said, you should come to work for me at Mevio. I'm glad I didn't do that.
You had him on the show a couple of times.
No, but I mean the time in person, because it was actually on Cranky Geeks. He said, I could pay you wife-leaving money. That was it on him. That was the last time I talked to him.
You never told me this story before.
Money? The hell is that? And why would you even say that?
Well,
that's creepy.
I've got a better word for that kind of money, but I can't say it.
Yeah, don't say it out loud. I know what you're talking about. Anyway, don't say it. I had my radio engineer today said, I don't know. I think that caller swore. And I had to dump him. I said, what did he say? He said, I think he said the effing Google. No, I said Facebook and Google. So if you were listening to the radio show and there was a 40-second chunk missing, it's because somebody said Facebook and Google so fast that it sounded like effing Google.
Huh.
Or maybe he said effing Google.
Why do you say effing is not something you'd cut?
He didn't say effing. He said the full
what?
Anglo expletive. I can't say it.
Oh, why not? This is a podcast. It's family friendly.
We try to make it. You know why? Because John will come over here and hit me. I did say it just the other day, and he came over and
did he hit
slapped
you?
Me upside the head. No, but he practically did. I could tell he wanted to.
Oh, well, I think that's true with a lot of people that work here.
They all want to hit me.
Thank you. I'll be here all the week.
On Friday, I had lunch, actually dinner, in San Francisco with a lovely man named Bill Harris. Do you know Bill? Bill is he was a founder of PayPal with Elon Musk. Boy, he had some choice words about Elon Musk, which someday we'll talk about. I'm going to bring him back.
There's a lot of people that have these issues.
It was interesting. So he and Elon were like the founders of PayPal. He also was CEO at Intuit.
Where's Peter Thiel fit into the scheme?
Came later.
Oh.
Really, this is like at the very beginning days of PayPal. Some great stories. I'm going to get Bill back on Triangulation because I didn't even know all this the first time we had him on. When he was on then, he mentioned, and it wasn't even on the show, he mentioned, I'm starting a new company called Personal Capital. And he told me all about it. And I signed up, and I am really glad I did because Personal Capital, it's 2 years down the road now, and I'm still using it, is a really great way to keep track of where your money is, how it's going. But it's more than just a financial dashboard. It's really the goal of it is to keep you up to date on your investments for retirement, for planning for the future, to make sure that your 401k is not getting shaved by brokerage fees or high mutual fund fees, that your retirement plan is working, that you're not losing years off your retirement because of expenses. It's a really great solution. You put in your stuff, it's completely secure. It'll give you a single screen dashboard on your computer, on your tablet, on your phone. They even have an Android Watch app, which is so cool. Seriously, just the other day it said, it's time to rebalance because you're now getting a little heavy and international. And that was great to see that on my watch. And I went home and I did. Anyway, that's the beginning. Now you can invest with Personal Capital for a limited time. When you open a new Personal Capital account, they'll give you $100 for every $100,000 you deposit, up to $10,000. You'll get your cash in your account and personalized investment advice from their registered investment advisors. Really smart folks will give you the right advice. So it's free to use Personal Capital, and you even can make money on it if you deposit some money in your Personal Capital account. Now's the time to invest smarter and open that account. Take control of your financial future for 2015. Visit the younger you do this, the better, by the way. Now's the time. Go to personalcapital.com and set up your free account. Personalcapital.com/TWIT. And for a limited time, if you qualify, Personal Capital will give you $100 for every $100,000 you deposit, up to $10,000. Personalcapital.com/twit. And I am going to get Bill up because he had some stories. He also worked for Mort Zuckerman when Zuckerman first bought the Atlantic, and he came and helped run the business side of the Atlantic and U.S. News and World Reports. Very interesting stories, lots of stuff. He told a story at one point when he was visiting Mort Zuckerman and his house in Southampton, looking out at the ocean and beautiful day. And Zuckerman had just bought the Atlantic monthly, and he was trying to bring it up, tell his neighbor, he couldn't figure out a way to kind of get his. So he finally just said, I bought the Atlantic.
Yeah,
and his
in
neighbor
the ocean.
Said, his neighbor said, "That's a shame. I used to like to swim in that."
Yeah.
And you never know with these
be
billionaires.
Here all the week.
Thank you. Yeah, you had one, I get one. Okay. Philip, you just wrote an article about Beats and Jimmy Iovine, and I saw this was kind of interesting that apparently a very popular DJ for Radio 1 on the BBC in England, Zane Lowe, was just hired by Apple.
Yeah.
I presume that has something to do with Beats. What's going on?
Well, who the hell knows? We're like criminologists trying to figure out what's going on. I love the story that Billboard did about the Grammys, because it gave you a feeling for what's going on. They described this scene where at Clive Davis's pre-Grammy gala, where Tim Cook shows up, and Eddie Q, and Robert Kondik, who runs iTunes, and Jimmy Iovine, and Al Gore, and Nancy Pelosi, and it's like it's the white hot center of this party, and there's a single file line of record industry executives, lined up to see these guys, and there's Q, playing sort of, it's like a scene out of The Sweet Smell of Success, and he's playing Sidney Falco to Iovine's J.J. Hunsaker, and everybody, wants to kiss the ring, and clearly they're making deals, and according to Billboard, they've been, Iovan's been talking to one record label after another. According to Apple Insider, they've been signing up exclusive deals with artists, so that when an artist comes out with a new CD, it gets played first and exclusively on whatever they're going to call iTunes Beats streaming service. So it's going to be very hard for Spotify and what's the other one, Pandora, to compete with this new streaming service if Apple gets everybody first. So and then the other thing is that they hire the most popular DJ in England. They take him off the radio and they put him in Cupertino, and probably he's going to be part of what Jimmy Iovine calls deciding what song comes next. This idea of curating music. Right. You're going to get a streaming service, and someone is going to decide what song comes next, who you trust. And, like FM radio works, only it's now doesn't go over the radio.
This feels kind of retro. I mean, I think for people our age, maybe that makes sense, but kids don't.
Okay, so
Spotify
bought a company called the Echo Nest, which I think is Swedish, which was the recommendation engine behind Spotify, Audio, here we go, like iHeartRadio, Rhapsody, Xbox Music, and a bunch of others. And so a lot of people started pulling away from that. Iovine's producer, right? He's a hands-on, manipulative.
And that was the pitch when they launched Beats. He said people want curation, and that was the big difference in Beats. Although if you use Beats, you make a sentence.
Yes.
I think it's really dumb. I can't see my son doing it.
I thought it was interesting.
It's interesting. I'm not saying that. But it's not something my son's going to do. My son sits there and he watches YouTube videos. I think Google owns this because of the music key in YouTube.
Google doesn't own anything in terms of streaming music. Apple has failed over and over again on streaming music.
And then now it's too late. Everybody's choosing Audio or Spotify or Google or Amazon. There's so many competitors, and I think everybody's invested in one of them. Beats Music, when it launched, was a failure. Was an outright failure.
Leo, how are you invested? Can't you switch? No, it's not like you...
Boom. Yeah.
But you could switch the old thing. Nobody's going to go to a new technology unless the new technology is significantly better than the old. It's not just like, oh, it's a little bit better, or I would like to try it.
If
you're happy with Spotify, Beats has to make a proposition that is way beyond. Maybe an exclusivity is the key.
Yeah, that would give you a pretty if
you're a Taylor Swift fan and you can only get it on Beats, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Exactly. It's exactly it. It's not like you've invested all this money and you downloaded the music and it only plays on Spotify.
No, that's right.
You know, you just all you do is flick a switch and you're streaming from somewhere else.
So I think that's the key. You got to have exclusive. You got to have a lot of exclusive content.
You can hear Tim Cook saying, "We're not just going to make any streaming service. We're going to make the best streaming service." And then if they can deliver that, people will switch.
I'm just saying that Beats tried to do this, and they got 110,000 subscribers.
Yeah. Beats ain't there yet. But Apple, they've got 800 million iTunes accounts. They've got 75% of the download market. They've got Jimmy Iovine, who's he's amazing. Jimmy Iovine. You look at the list of people that he signed up and his career in music. Here, I have it somewhere here. What has he did? He, former recording engineer John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen, turned record producer Patti Smith, Tom Petty, U2, Dire Straits, et cetera, co-founded Interscope.
God, those all sound like really old acts.
Hold on.
Eminem to Lady Gaga. He's got the new people
Beats.
too.
The guy essentially, he and Dre and whatever involvement, Monster had or didn't have at that point, essentially created an entire market for premium headphones that didn't exist. Not very good headphones, but they established a huge market for incredibly expensive headphones that the entire industry is now following and trying to emulate. They made them hip. They made them relevant.
But isn't the music? I'm surprised to hear that everybody was flocking around Jimmy Iovine at the Clive Davis party, because it's pretty clear that the music industry is not fond of streaming music. That they feel like they're not getting their share.
There's that, but it's too late to. This is not changing.
Well, you know that, and I know that, but does the record industry know that?
Sure, they do.
Didn't they have a big? It just baffled me during the Grammy Awards ceremony. They had a big chunk of time devoted to basically, you guys are thieves, but we're going to go to Congress and make sure you're not. I mean, that's literally what that was all about. And they thanked the Turtles, because the Turtles sued streaming music industry over his pre-1972 music, and Taylor Swift, because literally out loud said, thanks to Turtles and Taylor Swift, we're going to win this battle. Taylor Swift pulled her music out of Spotify. They don't like these streaming guys. It may be the future, but they don't like them.
But there's also a lot of artists that have, and this is not a new story, have pointed out that actually, no, I make nearly nothing, but my record company makes decent money.
We know that too, but remember, it's the record companies that's making these deals.
This is not a new situation, but if Apple puts money into Beats to create exclusive deals where people start making money. Apple doesn't want to be the biggest music streaming service. Apple wants to make the most money off of a streaming music service. That is a different goal.
Absolutely, and that's what they've done with phones, and that's what they've done with computers.
Right. And if the record executives are lined up to talk to Jimmy Iovine at this party, it could be that Apple is offering them some kind of sweetener that makes it a better deal for them than whatever Spotify.
I think the record industry is dead. I think the artists are going to take control thanks to the internet. And if you're a smart artist today, that's what you're doing. I remember having this conversation with Paul Simon, and he said, people of that generation are seeing their business model completely collapse. And he said, I don't care for me, but I care for my kids. They're musicians. How are they going to make a living today?
The same way they most of their parents made music touring and T-shirts and merch, not on record sales.
Yeah. So why is Beats going to? What is Beats going to have that's going to make a difference?
Apparently, they're going to have a bunch of exclusive deals with Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
it's not in Taylor Swift's interest to do exclusive deals. It's in the record label's interest because they're going to make more money. But the artists are not going to go for this.
It'll be a windowing thing where it'll appear for a month, on Beats. I don't know. I'm guessing, but
I'm skeptical.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, that's all they'll ever get, right?
Short term.
It's the same thing with, with the movie and TV industry right now. You get these.
Right. It's the way the whole business works.
Right. All right. Enough about Apple. Sorry, Philip.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're done. Good seeing you.
Come on. I know you're into Pinterest. Tell me about Pinterest.
I know nothing about Pinterest.
You know nothing.
You've never pinned?
I signed up for it.
We're all boys. I don't think I have a Pinterest account. I
will say that I gave up on Pinterest when you could basically no longer look at anything on anybody's Pinterest links without having a Pinterest account, which I have no interest in having.
I'm on your side. That's why I didn't join.
No, it's not.
I didn't join because this is what you just showed me right there.
I'm logging into my Pinterest.
Yes, you have to log in to see anything.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Then
now I can invite my friends.
What if I just wanted to go look at somebody's Pinterest account?
Now I can find other friends.
With these splash screens.
There's a lot of food on your Pinterest account.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, you got a lot of food on there.
Yeah, you could kind of tell what a person's interested in.
Food and a race car. And an English estate and a sneaker.
Ooh, you're going to buy an English estate?
Pinterest is kind of neat because it's like a magazine.
And
right?
women's shoes. What is
Women's
this?
Shoes.
I love women's shoes. Don't you love women's shoes?
What about the fingernail polish? What is that on there
Let's ask. We have a nice big studio audience, mostly male. There are about 2 women in the whole group. How many use Pinterest here?
And how many wear women's shoes?
Okay, we got 2 people from Copenhagen, but they're actually Romanian. 1 woman and a guy. What do you do?
No, actually like
and another
6
woman.
guys.
A few guys. Well, but he's from Copenhagen. He doesn't count. What?
That was charming.
What do you do on
international
Pinterest?
incident?
I have my albums covers because
You keep track of album covers. Yeah.
Like, I have my collection in Spotify, but I want to share them with friends. So,
Are you a graphic artist?
No, he's a database engineer. He's a data miner.
Oh.
Yeah. Pretty clever, huh?
Yeah.
I think Pinterest has a lot of appeal, but I think that for some reason in this country anyway, men don't really think there's anything there for them.
And yet I am complaining that Pinterest will not let me look at things on Pinterest without having an account.
What did you want to see? Did you want to see?
I keep stumbling across links.
I love these romantic flats in black.
I admit I have never looked for romantic flats in black.
Can you actually stand in those things? It's pretty. Looks like a rough go.
Actually, pictures of musicians, furniture.
Furniture actually is what I've used it for. When I was shopping to furnish my apartment.
Back to food again. You must have moments where you're just food, and they say, those shoes.
Oh.
And then you load up with shoe
Chicken
links.
cheddar and guacamole burgers. Let's have those tonight.
That looks totally disgusting.
How about cinnamon apple overnight oats?
That doesn't look good either.
It'll be good for you. They're vegan and gluten-free, John.
And it's in a mason jar.
It's in a mason jar.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, you want some cinnamon buns? I feel like Pinterest is like a beautiful magazine. Anyway, I didn't know this, but apparently it's become a great place for people to make money as almost like as a business, like eBay is a business for people, with two affiliate companies who have
just been kicked off.
And I have a feeling there's going to be a bit of a outcry. In fact, I'm surprised there hasn't been a bit of an outcry. Pinterest, which has been looking to monetize, is already considering and they claim this has nothing to do with monetization, but they are doing some interesting things to monetize. One is they're going to do promoted pins, kind of like promoted tweets. But these 2 companies, Reward Style and Hello Society, all their links as of Thursday, are being pulled. So if you were making affiliate money, and pretty good affiliate money too, as people clicked on your links and buy. But the other thing Pinterest is going to do is maybe put a buy button there. So an affiliate link is a bad thing, right? If they're going to start selling direct.
I think they should find some other way of doing this and let people do their own thing and make a little money and they just skim off the top. You want to be on Pinterest doing this? We'll take 10%.
Well, I think you're smart. I think you're right because
the place would become a massive commerce site and people would be making lots of money and Pinterest could just sit back and relax and take a piece of it.
Pinterest says it doesn't have anything to do with
What is the business model now?
Business model.
Get as many.
That's a funny term.
Get as many users as you can, as fast as you can. Right?
That's an old one.
That's the traditional business model. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
you got to get some cash though.
No, I
does
think
it work? If you click on something, can you buy or not?
Sometimes you can, and if you can, oftentimes like this beautiful DIY. No, that's a DIY, so that's not. But let's find something I can buy here.
How about that cake?
An easy recipe. That's DIY too. See, that cake.
See,
you can't buy
Apple
that.
just
You
did
can't
this
buy the
thing
cake?
where now you can find apps through
It's like
Pinterest.
lots of-
Well, there's another
How
monetization,
much
right?
food do you really want to?
This isn't my board. This is just generic Pinterest content.
Well, then whoever
Let's see
put this
your
up is
board.
really hungry.
I don't think there's much on my board, frankly.
Well, let's see it.
Oh, you just want to know what I look? Cameras,
Oh.
audio gear, health, my favorite travel spots, travel gear.
Let's see your favorite travel spots.
All right, this is furnishings.
Just new for your new. You don't even have an apartment.
I know. That's how long it's been. Here's my favorite travel spots. Are you ready?
Yeah.
None.
You're just a homebody.
I set it up, and I've got 3,790 followers, and I've never done anything ever.
But did this sound?
Because you're too busy traveling to actually make plans.
My
on exotic
favorite
trips.
travel spots. Should I just put a pin in somewhere?
Yeah, put it in South Africa.
I'm going to Kiev.
Kiev.
Well,
by the way,
now
it's
that-
actually pronounced.
Kiev, really?
Yeah.
Not Kiev?
No. It's American
Dang.
school children pronunciation. It's actually Kiev.
Kiev. I'm going to Kiev because now that peace has broken out in the Ukraine,
Yeah.
I think it's time for us all to go
Just
to
for a day or
Kiev.
two.
Is this Kiev now?
Here is Independence Square in Kiev. Look how beautiful that is. I'm going to pin that in my travel pins. Let's put that in the travel pins.
Now the CIA and the NSA will be wondering why you have this one thing.
There's the
only.
financial model. Anyway,
They don't have to pay for their data.
This
They
is-
just
this
send
is-
you a letter and you give them all the data.
a long, oft-told story of companies building up a business and then pulling the rug out from under the people who have created that business in order to do their own monetization. And I just wonder, you know, eBay's survived such things. Twitter has survived such things. I suppose Pinterest will. It's still the best damn food magazine ever. Here, look, cheers, Chicken Kiev. Or do I pronounce that Chicken Kiev?
I think that would be pronounced
Kiev.
Chicken Kiev because that's the way everyone pronounces it.
Yeah, it's not Chicken Kiev. People wouldn't want to eat that.
They wouldn't know what that is.
That'd be disgusting. All right. All right, nothing more.
It looks disgusting anyway, by the way, that dish.
You don't like anything I'm picking out here. How about Kiev cake?
What is it?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, it looks different.
It's a Ukrainian classic cake that's light in flavor with a meringue hazelnut layer.
There's a French cake very similar to that. They
Delicious. Delicious. Here is the metro in Kiev. It's Kiev.
I think that'd be cool to visit.
It's amazing. Look at that. You know, the Russian metro is pretty amazing, isn't it? Because
I've
it
been
has
there.
Beautiful, kind of Tsarist era.
The thing about the Russian metro
Tiles.
that always kind of shocked me when you go on it is the escalator speed.
Is it?
It goes like 90 miles an hour.
Well, I'm in a
In
hurry. I
fact,
need
it
to get
goes
into the-
so fast that you're a little reluctant to get on it. It's
I
like
want to
it's-
take train. Please, bring me quick.
Wow, I think flies.
Really?
Yes. It's frightening how fast it is.
There's an infographic there. Escalator speeds around the world. Like different, which ones are fast and slow. And
It's remarkable.
you would think it'd be like a
it's
standard
also
escalator
It's also
speed.
steep and fast. It's really
They're nuclear bunkers. They want to get you down in there. That's probably what they are. They're
and
shelters.
they got to get down fast. Apparently,
They're shelters. You're from Romania. Yes. Similar things. Do the escalators move pretty quick down there? I'm going to Budapest in the summer. This summer.
Cool.
Is
Yeah.
it Budapest or Budapest?
Budapest, I was told, is Pest, right?
Yeah.
Pest. Is it Kiev or Kiev? He's from. He says you're wrong.
No.
He says you're
Victoria Newland pronounces it Kiev. All the diplomats that are had this Norwegian
Kiev.
type means it's called Kiev.
Kiev. It's
now,
probably
they may be
Kiev.
pronounced Kiev someplace
Kiev.
else, but that's like they don't have London in France. It's
Kiev.
Londra.
Kiev. Somebody says, okay, the escalators are fast. Do you notice cars these days are going faster too?
No,
No. Okay, just checking.
they're going slower.
So they're going slower.
People who've been in self-driving cars,
Yes.
getting back, say that it's like a normal car, except when they change lanes, they go whoop,
Right.
faster than any human would ever change
Right.
a lane.
Because they don't have to think. They know it's clear, and they say,
Yeah.
just get over. I think we need to fix that.
It's the way I drive.
Obviously, never drove with my father.
Well, once you know it's clear, there's no point in going, let's nudge over. That's how I drive, because I'm not sure it's clear. Let me just nudge over. If nobody honks, I go a little farther. Nobody honks.
Can you bend your neck? Can you go like this and look behind?
When I was doing driver's training as a kid, every time I turn my head, the car would go that way.
A lot of people have that
I had
problem.
to unlearn that.
Yeah.
It's a bad habit. Kiev. Let's hear how it's pronounced.
I it's not.
That's an American pronunciation.
That's an American pronunciation, yes.
I
First
get all
time
my pronunciations from YouTube.
The first time I heard the word pronounced Kiev, it was Victoria Nuland, who was
Who's
over
Victoria
there.
Nuland?
She's the Assistant Secretary of State to Kerry. She was over there during the Revolution.
Well, she should know.
And she said Kiev. I said, this is crazy. This woman can't pronounce this correctly. And then I looked into it, and that's actually the official pronunciation.
Apparently,
they would pronounce it.
The Russians pronounce it differently than the Ukrainians. So here we go. This is. You have audio from my computer because this is going to end the debate.
Kiev is Russian language. Kiev, it's Russian, and Kiev is Ukrainian.
Kiev.
Kiev.
Kiev is Ukrainian.
Yeah.
They're drunk.
That sounds like a Sesame Street episode.
You win and you.
Russia, right? Kiev, Russian, and Kiev, Ukrainian.
She's not saying Kiev. She's saying Kiev.
She's like,
Kiev.
well, the vomiting sound is what they'll use because they drink too much in their Ukraine.
Where did you get
Ukraine.
that?
The internet is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, you learn so much.
Wow.
Pronounce it any way you want.
They're authoritative, too.
I think the Apple deal with Pinterest is interesting because that is a big problem, app discovery. And it's a problem for Apple, not just for developers. Because, right now, the only way to discover something, if somebody doesn't tell you about it, is via Apple, and they're promoting it on iTunes.
Or the top seller lists.
Yeah, which I don't think is really good for diversity. And I think it's in Apple's interest to promote diversity and to show there's more than just, the stuff you know. So Pinterest will start, it's called something called app pins that will let you pin apps. And apparently Apple's going to give them some money to do it.
Yeah, I tried it today, and I ran into the same problem as you have to have a membership to look at any of this stuff.
Join it. Why do you guys not want to join Pinterest?
Because I'm sure I'm going to get email from them. They're going to start
and
spamming for me. Yeah. I don't need any more spam. I have too much spam now.
I'm with him.
Okay, that makes sense. I don't
And
blame
by
you.
the way, why did they have to put this barrier to entry? This is the violation of Marketing 101. So I want to go look at somebody's thing. Now I got to sign up. I got to put my email. I got to jump through hoops just to look at a pin.
They're tired of freeloaders like us.
So how does it?
They're building a list.
Okay.
Checking it
So
twice.
let me search for health, and see if I can find a health app. So I should see apps here as well as other things. I see a lot of abs.
Yeah, a lot of
bodies.
abs, but no apps.
No apps, but plenty of abs.
Did you misspell it?
Is the health page? You looked up health for men?
I just did health. I'm a man.
Well, how would they know that? Oh, never mind.
They
You
know
signed
everything. Yeah, I signed up.
up. I get no
How about if I
spam.
searched for health and app? There you go. Look at that. 20 stunning mobile app designs featuring graphs and charts.
Cool.
There's an article. I just have to read.
This will take you all day to read this page.
You're better off with the top 10, health apps.
I think, though, I really feel like this is something Apple should want to solve, which is that's just not enough diversity. And if you want people to love their iPhones, what you want them to find is a great app that they can, that really fills their need. And
You
it
think
might not
there's
be
a
one of the.
need for people to love their iPhones
Have you
because
seen
everyone
Talking
hates.
Pets yet?
No.
Okay, here we go.
Is this the show?
Do you think? Okay, I want to see this.
Okay, so I sent like a
That's your
Valentine
dog.
to my daughter. Right. That's the
Your
Ozzy
daughter?
the dog.
No, that's the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, and I sent her this Valentine from Talking Pet. You ready?
Can't see it.
Roses are red. Violets are blue.
That's my dog talking.
If I weren't a dog, I could rhyme this for you. Happy Valentine's Day.
It doesn't sound like a dog.
It could sound well. I can do other ones too. You want to see?
I want a dog sounding like a dog.
You
Little
can make it
woofing
sound
in
like
there.
anything you want.
I want something that sounds like it. This sounds like a computerized phony dog. I want a real dog sound.
See if I can find some more. I've been sending a lot of these lately.
Yes, apparently. Look at this.
You can do deep voices. You can do.
How about a growl?
Let me see here. How about you want a deep voice? Here's one. I sent this one here.
Really like this.
This is a gorilla. You said
Yeah.
somebody a gorilla, talking gorilla.
Really like this.
Okay. Talking pets. It doesn't have to just be a pet.
Yeah, it could be a bug.
It could be a spider.
You forget, I'm a boy.
Yeah, that makes more sense, that one.
That's a good one. Talking spider. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's another one of Ozzy. This is my dog.
Hey, what you doing? What you doing?
That sounds a little more like the dog.
What you doing? Hey, what you doing? Where's Charlie? What you doing?
That's pretty much.
My dog says.
How much time do you spend on this?
I think
My dog says, "You gonna eat that? You
Yeah.
gonna eat that?
Oh, I
You
could
gonna
do
eat
one.
that?
You gonna eat that? What you doing? You gonna eat that? This is pretty much all that ever goes through my dog's head.
What you doing?
That's pretty much what any dog does.
I was going to say dog.
A dog,
Hey.
period.
Hey, what you doing?
I love it. All right, we're gonna take a break. I'm a simple man with simple needs.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And I think if I had a Pinterest account, I'd probably pin that to my Pinterest account.
You do.
I do, and
do,
I
so
will.
why don't you
As soon
pin?
as I get home, I'm going to pin that. Our show today brought to you by lynda.com. I would recommend it to anybody who's looking for a great place to go to learn new skills, whether it's tech or like business skills like negotiation, resume building. Lynda, Lynda.com. I actually know Linda Wyman, known her since, in fact, if Patrick hadn't run off, he could tell you we used to have her on the screensavers all the time. Web design was her thing, but she's expanded, and lynda.com covers everything. Photography. They have Burt Monroy's Photoshop classes. They're the best in the world. Visual design, software training like Excel and WordPress, Photoshop, yeah. And the thing is, these are all taught by experts who are great teachers. They're produced professionally. They have transcripts. They divide it up into sections, so it's very easy to jump to the one thing you want to learn or watch the whole thing and become an expert. Here's some of the new courses that I've just been playing with. Improving Your Memory. I forgot who does that one. SEO Fundamentals. And, of course, Spurt's Pixel Playground series, which is incredible. There's a weekly series called Small Business Secrets. That's Dave Crenshaw. He's coaching small business owners on things like accounting and marketing and management. It's really, I just think Lynda's great. There he is. Go to lynda.com right now. Lynda, lynda.com/twit2. It's a new code for you. lynda.com/twit2, and you're going to get a free 10-day trial. And that means you got the run of the place. You can, well, that's the guy. I forgot him. What's his name? On memory, Paul Novak. Yeah. That's the guy on improving your memory. Actually, this is really a cool course. lynda.com/twit and the number 2. 10 days, that's enough time to really get your feet wet, try a bunch of different courses. You get unlimited access to every course, including access on iOS and Android, plus new courses as they're added each week. LYNDA, lynda.com. Give them a try. They're the best.
I'm going to try it. My friend Ina Saltz, who was a designer at Time for a long time, did a course. She's making a lot of money on it, and now I get to look at it. I'm going to try your free trial.
It's great for instructors, and I think you're going to really like it, yeah. They need, I don't know, do they have any drone courses yet?
I haven't found any yet.
I need to learn.
I want a drone.
I only know one drone command, up. And that was it. That's all she wrote. Hey, if you missed anything this week, you missed a great week on Twit. We have a few of the highlights and something Don Siegel Dvorak likes to call a house ad right here.
Previously on Twit.
Here comes Brian Burnett on the Eco Rico.
Before you buy.
From Amazon, this is the Echo.
This is the future. All homes are going to have speakers and microphones and personal assistants on the other end of it. Alexa, Wikipedia, Leo Laporte.
Leo Gordon Laporte is an American technology broadcaster.
Security Now.
An update on the Anthem breach, names, social security numbers, and residential addresses.
You had no recourse. If you want health care, you're going to give your social security number to people who do a crap job of protecting it.
Tech News Tonight.
Happy early Valentine's Day, Apple car enthusiasts. Amid a few weeks of rumors that Apple is getting into the car business, the Wall Street Journal just added electric fuel to that fire by reporting Apple has several hundred employees working secretly towards creating an Apple-branded electric vehicle.
This week in Google.
Google has added a virtual genius bar How you doing? Love your set.
You know, we are very googly here at Google.
Calling Google support on this show never gets old.
Twit. Twit with your head, not over it.
I think you could hurt yourself. That's why next week, Brian Burnett will be reviewing powered roller skates. He will. He will. He actually is going to. Brian Burnett, one of our employees. Do you think there's liability if you have an employee do something and he really hurts himself badly?
Yes.
Big time.
He was doing it in part of his duties on the show.
It's called taking all your money.
Oh, Lord. These are those things. You probably tried them at CES. I'm sure you saw them with the independently powered roller skates.
No. I don't put independently powered things on either foot.
They call them smart.
Yeah. And nobody's going to hurt themselves on a...
You're saying Curry likes that Echo?
He has one, and he thinks it's the best thing ever imaginable.
Amazed. Why? Isn't he worried that he's being spied on?
He says he is.
Oh, so he doesn't care.
Yeah, he's being spied on by the Echo. He's listening to everything you say. He says it's instant. He says you say whatever the thing's
and it's
name
got
is.
a real voice, a nice voice, not like Siri or
What
Cortana.
do you do with it?
You say things like, what temperature is it, or how many cups in a quart?
No, he usually says, I'll play the latest No Agenda show, and it played it.
It will. We could do that. You could do that with podcast. It's actually the greatest podcast thing ever. We did it. Listen to TNT on, I think you say, listen to TNT on TuneIn, because it has a TuneIn connection. So anything on TuneIn Internet Radio, it'll play. Or you could say, listen to, the Giants game.
He says you don't even have to say the tune-in part. It
does it?
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. Until you try it, it's kind of like, what? I don't know.
Yeah.
But once you get used to it, you kind of feel like, I want one in every room. I want my house to be listening to me. And just doing what I've...
I don't think when your house listening, you want your house to be responsive to your every whim.
Yes.
The listening part.
If it had robotic arms, I'd go for it. Otherwise,
it could.
I don't care.
If it can't kill you in your sleep, you don't want it in your house.
I can tell what the weather's like by looking outside.
Sure. But weather apps are like the #1 category on.
Yeah, people go, oh yeah, it's sunny.
Everybody has a weather app.
Okay.
You ever look at your weather app?
No. I do.
I have on my phone.
The only thing I leave notifications on
when my phone boots, it tells me the weather. Why should I?
Right. That's why you don't have to look out the window. See, I got the weather right in the front screen there. That's good. You know, it's 72 degrees right now and sunny. And
you're going to be in a big, giant haunted house when you're older, and you're going to be like holed up, and the kids are going to walk by saying, yeah, that's where that crazy guy lives.
Where did I see that editorial? Exact editorial. Was it GigaOM? It was. It was Janko Reckers on GigaOM saying, Silicon Valley really has a duty to stop creating stuff that isolates us from other people. And pretty much everything. I thought this was really interesting. It's a column called Disrupting Reality. Silicon Valley is busy ignoring the real world. Don't feel like talking to anyone ever again. Don't worry, there's an app for that. The My Time app on Android just launched. Will let you make appointments with local businesses without talking to anybody. Uber, you get a cab without talking to anybody. It just comes. In fact, the Uber driver is even incented to be nice to you because otherwise he gets bad ratings. So even though he's probably miserable, depressed, oppressed, making no money, he's going to be cheerful because he wants a good rating, right? Actually, the same goes for riders. You have to be nice to the driver or he could rate you badly. TaskRabbit, never stand in line again. Birchbox, Amazon Prime, never have to go to a store to buy anything. Even homeschooling, which is the latest, according to Wired, the latest Silicon Valley fad is all about getting your kids away from other people. That's the problem.
Well, now, that's not true. As a homeschooler.
Okay, yeah, as a homeschooler.
You're both homeschoolers?
Yeah.
I rest my case.
No, that's not true because homeschoolers, and Patrick will say yes when I say this, they have plenty of programs for the kids to meet up with other kids and go on field trips.
But it's not the same as sitting in a sweaty
room with saying nothing, but silence.
Being oppressed by the teacher. You're
homeschooling
getting measles.
No, homeschooling is the way to go.
All right. I also would like to point out that all of my children are vaccinated completely.
Right. The collapse of the American community. I think Janko's actually kind of interesting when he says this. He says, I remember listening to Meetup founder Scott Hefferman in 2005. He said the thing that inspired him to launch Meetup was a book called Bowling Alone, which talks about the collapse of American community. Okay. He said, I want to create a startup that's about bringing people together. And remember, there were a lot of those meetups. Whatever happened to those?
Have a tweet up. You can.
Who wants to meet people? I don't want to meet people. I don't like people.
Everybody
go out. No, but I think that he makes an interesting point. Don't you think that a lot of what we could see as technological improvements and advances really are mostly about just not having to talk to anybody?
No, they're
self-driving car. I just want to.
If you're driving the car drives itself. What difference does it make? It's still one person in the car.
I don't have to talk to cops.
How often do you get pulled over?
Lots. That's my social life. What do you think, Philip? You think that he's off base, or I think there's something to it?
Well, I think, it's really the computer. We spend so much time looking at the screen, and that's so people are going to make money trying to get you to look at the screen more. I don't know. Riding the subway in New York now, everybody's got their iPhone or their pad out, and it is different. I don't.
Well, that's what Uber's all about. Is so you don't have to go be around people. You can, avoid mass transit.
I think you have to deal with the driver one way or the other.
Yeah, but there's one guy instead of like a bunch of people on a bus vomiting.
Well, I don't think
that's the bus. Most of the people who are taking Ubers, were driving, I think, previously, or taking cabs. I mean, Uber exists because it was getting impossible to get a cab in San Francisco, because cab service in San Francisco sucked, and the Muni in San Francisco is a hot mess. It shouldn't take 90 minutes to 120 minutes to travel 7 miles across San Francisco.
Look at this is Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak. It'd be interesting to have an interview with Steve Jobs, but Steve Wozniak, he recently did an interview on the BBC. Mm-hmm. And I thought his take on kind of this, and everybody staring into their phones all the time, was kind of interesting. Whoops, I just pressed the wrong button. Let's press play.
To the phone, addiction to anything probably has some dangers in terms of what was before, but then once you get very used to it, if you're in a society that's accustomed to a lot of people being addicted to cigarettes or alcohol or something like that, it just sort of becomes just one of the natural things. You don't really, it's hard to measure how dangerous it is. It's more dangerous to a prior lifestyle.
So that's what I'm thinking is interesting. He's saying, we talk a lot about people being addicted to their smartphones. It's not bad. It's just from the perspective of the prior lifestyle.
What interests me, there's a theory about Silicon Valley that it's attracted a lot of autistic people who've then mated with autistic people and created a generation of autistic people, and that's part of the reason why it's so antisocial. What do you think about that?
Boy, no agenda material.
There's no question that many of the people in the Valley are on the spectrum. They're not autistic necessarily, but they're on the spectrum. They're antisocial. Bill Gates, we always wondered about him and his rocking. And he's a little Asperger's, right?
Little.
Okay. So it makes sense that if you have trouble with people and reading social cues, that you would be attracted to machines.
Well, machines,
I know I am.
If you give the machine the right instructions, the machine does what you tell it to. People are not that simple.
No, I agree. And if this is painting with a very broad brush.
Yes.
You're the most social person sitting here because you're on just constantly talking to the masses.
But isn't that interesting? That's a common misconception. Remember Johnny Carson?
Johnny Carson, yes, but here's my argument.
Totally introverted.
My counter argument to that was he got it out of his system because he was doing an hour and a half, initially at least.
He used to go to parties and sit in a corner because he could not talk to people.
Yeah, I've heard all
And
this.
I think a lot of people in broadcasting are introverts because this is a managed interaction. I'm not actually talking to anybody.
Leo,
Come on, let's jump in.
I've seen you at parties, Leo. You're no introvert.
I know introverts, and you're no introvert. Miami cops falsely reporting their location on Waze. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that some police say that Waze ability to report, that's the navigating program that Google owns, and
tells
you can
where
report
the cops are.
Where there's a police officer up front to avoid speed traps, things like that. Police don't like it. They say that just encourages people. Yeah. Well, not anyway. Miami cops are saying, "I'm over here," and they think this will make ticketing easier and prevent, quite legitimately, cop stalking.
That story pointed out that if the cops say I'm here, and they're not really there, it has the same effect of putting a fake cop car on the side of the highway,
which they sometimes
to get people
do.
to slow down. Yeah. So it actually probably reduces speeding.
That was Waze's defense, by the way, of that. There's police ahead. They said that most users tend to drive more carefully when they think law enforcement is nearby. I know I slow down when I see. On the Waze, it says...
Sure, because you don't want another ticket.
Right. I mean, that's supposed to be the purpose of speed limits and cops enforcing those, to have people drive safely.
Much more effective to have a lot of presence, then, I mean, even better than ticketing is just,
So it's false flag. It's cool.
What do you think?
It's not a false flag.
What is a false flag?
False flag is where the government sets up some sort of an event that they actually invented.
Like Wag the Dog.
Wag the Dog's a good example. Watch that movie. It's outstanding.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the idea is, in order to distract you from what's really going on.
The classic false flag was the burn down of the Reichstag in
or the Gulf of Tonkin.
That's a perfect example. That gave
us an excuse to enter the Vietnam War.
It took us 20 years to find out that was all bull crap.
Right.
But yeah, the Gulf of Tonkin is one of our more recent.
Reichstag fire,
A lot of people think that remember the Maine, the explosion, the Lusitania, they believe was one. There's a lot of them. You have a spider right over your...
Oh, my God, that's great. Look at that. Oh, now see, he's crawling up as quickly as he can.
That was a mistake.
He thinks safety is up above.
Yeah, he's going to bite you.
That's not a brown recluse, is it?
No. Hey! He's on your leg.
It's good. Spiders are good, right?
Spiders kill insects.
So I'm wearing an Android Wear watch. I have to admit that I broke out the iPhone the other day thinking I better start getting ready because the Apple Watch is going to be out in April. I actually like the Android Wear watch. I'm wearing a Moto 360, which apparently is the best selling.
How many of these watches do you have?
I have them all.
Okay.
Every
Do
watch.
you buy them or do they send them to you?
No, I don't do that, Philip. I'm very careful to not be, mostly because companies hate me, to not be on the gravy train. I buy everything because I want to be objective about it. We do get a few things before you buy, we get sent, but this is
You buy everything because you want everything.
I want it, and
these guys don't send that kind of stuff out free. There's no enough.
They used to, didn't they?
Well, the difference.
What happened?
Margins. I talked to people. In fact, I talked to Intel about this because I wanted to get one of those little...
I remember going to your house, I've told this story before, and you had a laptop on every step of your staircase.
Those days are over. What happens once the margins got small, essentially, if they give you a free product, they've lost 1 month's worth of profits.
Wow.
And so they can't do that anymore. So
they still send out products.
But they want it back, right? They want it back.
Sometimes not. Yeah. It's a pain in the ass to send it back because it screws them up as much as it screws you up.
What are they going to do with a used, beat-up old laptop?
Send it to the next person on the line for testing.
But it's not like it used to be. You have to agree.
Yes, I agree with that. But they still
do
send
you get product placement money?
I wish I did. We've been trying. Patrick's drinking Coca-Cola for free.
Yeah, there's no profit in that.
This isn't American Idol or anything. We tried. I thought, when we first started the network, I thought, we should be able to get Domino's Pizza, didn't we do that
Yes.
on the radio show? We used to have Max's Diner.
Yeah, they would send us free food.
Well, we didn't get any money, but we at least get free food.
Lots of it.
It was really greasy.
It was incredibly greasy.
It was good, though.
But it was,
I think that's when my weight problem began, actually.
It was...
Well, what was really good? They had the little mini Reuben sandwiches.
Yeah.
There's I
don't remember a lot of this.
A platter full of, hundreds of them.
Yeah, there's all leftovers, I think, or some banquet. They picked them up. Give them to those idiots over at the radio station.
Apparently, according to Robert Morrison in our chat room, it's the same with rifle reviews.
You don't get rifles free anymore?
The free rifle business is really...
No, it's actually... You know how you read the reviews of the Apple products and there's the same 4 reviewers that write the same glowing review of the same 4 products?
Right.
That's the way rifle reviews are.
Yeah.
It's the most amazing... It's actually...
You read rifle reviews?
Yeah, I do.
I can imagine.
What should I get?
We'll talk. We'll start you out with
I want that gun that Curry has. It's a shotgun and a pistol.
No,
that
you
thing's
don't.
Crazy.
No.
Has he ever fired that?
I'm sure he has.
You must send your arm like that.
Not necessarily.
First, you learn how to hold the gun.
Yes, that helps a lot.
First thing. Anyway, we were talking about...
We'll start you out with a nice BB gun, a Red Ryder.
In 2014, I want a Red Ryder.
You should. They still make them.
You'll poke your eye out.
They're awesome.
In 2014, 4.6 smart bands of any kind, 4.6 million, that's a big difference, 4.6 million smart bands of any kind were sold. Of those, fewer than 1 million were Android Wear devices. Only 720,000 Android Wear devices shipped last year.
The top thing.
Well, the Android Wear is considerably more expensive than something like a Fitbit.
That's true.
It's also funny. There's a great article on the BBC where they talked about how they looked at the Vivo Smart, the Fitbit Charge, the Misfit Shine, the Jawbone Up, and they had a 23% difference in the amount of distance they covered and like 2,700 calories difference in terms of a week of what they estimated the calories.
Molly Wood just did a whole big piece in the New York Times on that. What is the most accurate?
I don't know.
Yeah. Not does it matter that much? I mean, 20%. I guess that's one. That's
a fair amount.
Yeah.
And 2,700 calories is a pretty huge amount of calories.
That's a lot of calories. So the Mi Band, just as an example, Xiaomi sold, the Mi Band was basically like a Fitbit or whatever. Presumably, I guess, sold only in Asia or maybe just in China. One day, 103,000 units. So, I mean, 720,000 for a whole year is not a lot of smartwatches. I don't know what to conclude from that. I actually like the Moto 360 and find it
they
pretty
basically
useful.
They came out in the fourth quarter. The best-selling one was the Moto 360 because I think it was first and was fairly feature complete.
It was round. It wasn't first, actually. There were the square ones came out first, and the Moto was a few months later, yeah. I like it. You could change the face, and it tells you when the phone's ringing, who's calling. You can talk to it.
Can you turn it to Russian? No, I'm not.
You can, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be cool.
I'm not
going to do a roundup.
No, don't tell me how. I don't want to know.
Okay, go ahead, Philip.
I tried to figure out how many watches Apple was going to sell. I tried to get the analysts to weigh in. I can't remember what the numbers were, but they started about, 7 to 10 million, and then some people are talking about 20 or 30 million. So, it's going to, we're talking about a different scale coming in 2015.
It's also hard to say how much because we don't know how much it's going to cost. We know the lowest end will be $350.
$350, and they're going to sell probably 70% of the sales will be in that model.
Okay, so it doesn't matter how much the stainless steel or gold one costs because that's going to be a fraction of the total sales.
Yeah.
A small fraction.
They'll make a lot of money on those. The margin on those.
This report, which comes from Canalys, which is an analyst group, says that Samsung still dominates. They launched 6 devices in 14 months, but they sold the most. I've tried all the Samsung devices and we're underwhelmed. I like Android Wear. Samsung does make an Android Wear. I like Android Wear, although they're all the same. I mean,
you can read that. It's what you just said.
It says 3 days ago, Samsung launched just 6 devices. And how did you do that?
Pretty fancy, huh?
Yeah. Did you do a search?
No, I just recorded you.
Oh. And then found the story. And then it searched for the story.
It does everything.
It's amazing. So what you're saying, I think, Philip, is that the sales of Android Wear are not an indicator of how well the Apple Watch will do.
Right. I think, I don't know. It feels like a lot of product got put out in advance of the product that's probably going to set what
I would agree with you,
like.
especially with that Samsung stuff, but this Moto 360, for instance, is pretty mature. In other words, it isn't. These Android Wear watches are not the first smartwatches, and I think they learned a lot from the first ones. And frankly, I think the utility is high on these.
So it tells time. You get notifications.
Tells time.
What else do you do with it?
Get notifications. It counts steps. This will give you a heart rate. Not all Android Wear watches do that. You can dictate to it. So if I get a text message, I can quickly dictate a response by just tapping it and saying, and tell her I'll be right there. I think those things are all fairly useful. I don't have a big problem taking a phone out of my pocket. So I think these are still a luxury device. I think nobody's going to say, I have to have a smartwatch.
Can we make some predictions about what, especially what Philip thinks about the Apple Watch is going to do well?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, it's not going to be like the phone. I mean, you can sort of see that everybody in the world is eventually going to need a smartphone. Or pretty much everybody.
I would agree on that. That's the computing platform for the next 10 years.
Right. iPad, the tablets, clearly it was a smaller thing. It was a smaller market. I can't imagine the whole world needing a smartwatch. It just doesn't.
It's a luxury item. It's not.
I mean, is this why
it's not jewelry scale luxury?
Well, but they also they're talking about putting in a jewelry type display to sell these in the Apple stores, and two,
safes.
Angela Ahrendts is who they just hired from Burberry. That's a pretty huge.
Yeah, but that's fashion.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're paying her a ton of money. In fact, she made more money than Tim Cook last year.
Right.
In order to lure her away from Burberry.
Well, they had to make good on her Burberry bonus that she was going to get. She had to give up a bonus to go to Apple. Right. I think the watch does several things. One, it shows that Apple can still make product and make new categories. And I think they can see that the margin is good enough for them that they will make a lot of money on these, especially if the Chinese who like to show off their wealth buy the gold ones. Good God.
Well, that's a good point. They may not sell a lot of those, but the margin's got to be pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to buy one.
I will too.
You're going to get one, Leo. Right?
I have to get one, yeah. And I'm looking forward to it. Oh, come on.
John, are you going to get one?
I'm not getting one.
He's going to take my cast off.
I just get the secondhand stuff from him. It's fine. Works fine for me. I don't think you have to be in that minute.
I do.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering because there's some things that are unique to it. Like you can't, you will be able to on the Apple Watch, for instance, and this is going to help sell them. If you wear one too, Patrick, I can do little messages to you on the face of the watch.
This would be great in school.
Like draw a picture. Nick Bilton was telling us that one of his friends, he says, who has an Apple Watch, he works at Apple, and everybody else does. He just, when he wants to go to lunch, he just sends a message. He just draws an L on his watch, and his friend knows that he wants to go to lunch.
It's even better than Snapchat.
and then there's the taptic interface.
Did you hear that story that Tim Cook told that apparently there's this thing that after 15 minutes, if you haven't stood up,
it'll make you stand up.
It reminds you to stand up. So 15 minutes into an Apple meeting, everybody stands up.
Now, they'd probably make it out of sync, so it looks more like a calliope where different people are standing up at different times. That would be better, wouldn't it?
Especially if it made a squeak like that chair.
That's a squeak. This chair has really gotten squeaky.
Yeah.
Just a word to anybody who wants to be an evil villain. If you're going to get a chair like this, you want to keep it lubricated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's really, when you're asking for $1 million and your chair's squeaking, it just takes all the fun out of it. We'll take a break. What are you doing? He's miking my
He's miking the squeak.
There we go. What's this man doing under the table?
You sound like my chemistry professor in high school.
What's that? Did he used to say that?
He had a rule about everybody's hands had to be on the table.
Oh, my God. That guy had a dirty mind.
No, he had a lot of
high school kids.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break, come back with more. Philip Elmer-DeWitt is here from Fortune Magazine from NoAgendaShow.com. Mr. John C. Dvorak. He's always got that. And from... how's it going with, by the way, with Tech Thing?
It's going. We just posted episode 6 this week. We've got our iPad and iOS and Apple TV feeds sorted out. We're still fighting with the TiVo format, but Tech Thing is growing.
So with the slow fade of revision 3, Techzilla canceled, I guess.
Hiatus canceled, whatever.
A long hiatus.
Yes.
So you and Shannon said, let's do our own thing.
Yes.
And yeah, you have to provide the infrastructure, but thanks to things like Patreon, you can maybe make a go of it. And what is the Patreon address if you want to donate?
Patreon.com/techthing, TEKTHING.
There you go.
Thanks, man.
There you go. Shannon Morse and Patrick Norton. And it is Techzilla, isn't it? I mean, it's pretty similar.
It's very similar.
Don't tell revision 3, but...
No. You see, it's the Screensavers 4.0 or DLTV 3.0 or Techzilla 2.0 or TechThing 1.0. There's a thing where we look at.
I get it. It's like me. I had one idea for a show, and I just keep doing the same thing over and over. You know that.
Yeah.
You've been with me since the beginning.
I have no problem with it.
No, you get a great idea, you go with it. You run with it till somebody buys it. Our show today brought to you by Audible.com. I am a big audiobook fan. I know. Are you? Do you listen to audiobooks?
I started doing it again after. Actually,
if you drive a lot,
I rejoined Audible.com sitting in this podcast one day and signed up for it.
Yeah,
and it's been interesting listening to books that I've read in the past.
I love it too.
Are you an Audible listener?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm in the middle of Robert Caro's 4-volume, I think, Johnson.
I've read the first volume, and I haven't read any more because I read the first volume when it came out. But he's gotten a lot farther. What a story that is.
Boy, and he hates the guy. He clearly hates Johnson. Johnson lied. He couldn't tell the truth.
Yeah.
And
you know what else would be good? And I think Beschloss has some of this on Audible. You know, Michael Beschloss also has the Johnson tapes. And it's and I think some of the audio of this, here it is. Taking Charge, the Johnson White House tapes. You've got to listen to this. Michael Beschloss, another great, not like Robert Caro, kind of a great presidential chronicler. And this, you hear Johnson sitting on the toilet talking to people. You hear Johnson talking, actually it's very moving, talking about Vietnam.
Talk about moving, sitting on the toilet.
Yeah.
I got three of us. Now we wait for Patrick.
The thing I liked the most on this one was he's debating the Civil Rights Act, and he's talking to his valet, who's an African American, and while Johnson, who's he's a Texan, and he's still calling the guy boy, but he clearly is really moved by the struggle of African Americans in the 60s, and it's interesting to hear. It's hard to hate the man when you listen to the tapes. You don't love him. God, I remember protesting, hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today during the war? And
you did this?
Yeah.
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 It made him crazy, that chant. He hated it.
Oh, well, I don't blame him. But that was kind of the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, there's a couple of things on Audible. So for history, Audible is wonderful. But, it's great for fiction, too. What I try to do is alternate fiction with nonfiction. So I'll listen to right now I'm listening to the incredible biography of the Beatles. It's very long and very detailed. But then my next one is going to be a sci-fi novel by my favorite sci-fi author, Peter F. Hamilton. Just amazing stuff on here.
They keep giving me free books. I don't think I paid for. They just say, you've earned another.
No, they're good about that. And you know what else they do? They are very civic-minded. During for instance, the presidential campaigns, they'll give away speeches, State of the Union address. There's a lot of stuff. Have you read about Gila, the immortal life of Henrietta Lacks? What a story that is. Her genes, the Gila genes, are used by scientists to this day. She was a poor southern tobacco farmer, and her cells continue to be grown in culture, although she's been dead for more than 60 years. It's an amazing story. The Gila cells. So you can learn a lot. You can entertain yourself. And I've got 2 free books for you. If you go to audible.com/twit and the number 2, audible.com/twit2. At this point, and I have to say this is great, every bestseller comes out on Audible.
Yes.
So it used to be you would hope, I hope that they'll, put this out on Audible. Now everything comes out.
Does Martin Short do the narration of his own book?
He sure does. Don't you love Martin Short?
Yeah, he's hilarious.
I must say, my life is a humble comedy legend. Let's listen to a little bit of this.
He's an idiot. Nevertheless, after questioning both candidates, the interviewer declares, "Your credentials are so darn equal, and I don't know how to decide. I can't make up my mind." The male candidate proposes that the matter be settled by arm wrestling. The interviewer agrees. Then the man pins down the woman's arm, thereby winning the job. Scene.
You're going to have to listen to the rest of the book to find out what the hell he's talking about there. I must say my life is a humble comedy.
Canadian politics is my guess.
I would guess, too. But you can get this for free. There is a lot of biographies and stories by people.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, that just came out, didn't it?
Yeah.
Choose Your Own Autobiography. He wrote it and read it. Because it's an autobiography, but he reads it too. I would say a lot of times you don't want the author to read them, but when it's performers like Sarah Silverman, you do, or Martin Short, because they really bring it to life. Look, there's a lot of choices here. You've got 2 books free. And by the way, when you get the subscription, you're going to get the Platinum subscription, 2 books a month. You also get the daily digest of the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, so that's a great way to keep up on what's going on. The Walter Isaacson book, now I think rapidly becoming a classic, The Innovators. That's available. You can get that for free, too. Just go to audible.com/twit2 and, to discover the world of audiobooks. I'm interested, Philip, that you like Audible because you don't have a commute, right? I presume you don't.
No, but I have a dog, so I walk him every day for about an hour, and it's you can get a lot of book done with that.
It's for me, it's the gym. I don't commute, but nothing more boring than being on a treadmill or a bicycle or a rowing machine. But if I'm listening to a book, it kind of goes by fast. Love it. Microsoft, interesting. Microsoft is a very fascinating story now, I think.
Yeah.
Well, for a long time, you and I talked about how boring Microsoft had become. Their stock was stagnant. There was nothing to say. They looked like they were going the way of IBM. And with the advent of Satya Nadella and the new Windows 10, I think at HoloLens, there's some really interesting stuff.
I just wrote a column about this.
What do you think?
Just the opposite.
You think they're a boring company still?
No, I think they should be a boring company.
Go back to being boring?
They got those cash cows. They throw money away left and right. Nothing works. They're no good at anything except what they do best, which is Office and Windows, and that's about it. Why don't they just, instead of throwing all this money at these stupid things they keep buying for $400 million, $500,000, $1 billion, give it to the shareholders. They're the ones, it's their money. They should have big dividends and become just a kind of a steady company.
Fade off into the
There's
sunset.
nothing to fade off. There's tons of PCs being sold every year. They're up. They do have new operating systems that come out, and you have to have Office because there's nothing else that.
Instead, they're giving away Windows 10.
Yeah, well, this all seems like idiocy to me.
And they kind of give away Office. I just got a $229 HP Stream, $229 laptop computer running Windows 8 with a year of Office free.
Is it the full Office that you get to use on 5 machines?
It's cool. I was actually
one machine.
After I replaced my broken and bent iPhone, there was a Microsoft store in the mall, and that was the first thing I found was like there's an 11-inch HP Stream for like $199.
And it ain't bad.
It runs really well.
You know what I just bought, and I'm really very interested about this. This is a 7-inch tablet from Winbook, $60.
Yes,
with a full version of Windows 8.1 on it.
That's a really good deal, but of course the Windows
$60.
8.1 and
What's the
10 are
processor?
It's a Bay Trail, decent 1.3 gigahertz, only a gig of RAM,
Right.
16 gigs of flash storage, but you can put another 64 gigs of micro SD in it.
Do one thing at a time.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a 7-inch tablet. I don't think I'm going to be multitasking my video edit while I'm writing the Great American
Well, you say
Novel
that until you
on
have
it.
7 things open that you're switching between. And,
We'll see.
And you're waiting.
That's why I ordered. First of all, low price entry.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious. What are you going to get? And one of the reasons this exists is because Microsoft says if it's a sub 8-inch display, you don't have to pay us for Windows. It's free. They're giving it away, as you say.
And 7-inch tablets are really cheap to build in China. I mean,
Apparently,
impossibly
$59.
cheap to build.
I don't even know how this. What's the profit on a $59 tablet?
I think they're dumping it.
You think that they what? That
it's
they,
a regular $230 tablet, so I'm assuming they're just moving
it's regular
inventory.
$89.99.
Well, that's their old price, but if you look on Amazon, they show the old price when this thing first was
so the
announced.
TW700. Well, I ordered one. It comes Tuesday. I'll let you know.
It's inventory clearance.
Maybe that's it, but still a good deal.
They give you a copy of Office again.
There's a huge,
again with a copy of Office.
There's a huge $100 tablet market.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
And this has a full-size USB port, so you could plug in a keyboard and a mouse and continue to charge it through the regular USB port. I don't know. It's a very IPS display. It's not a bad display.
What are you going to do with it?
I don't have nothing I'm going to do with it. And you get Office for a year. But it tells you Microsoft is up to something. They have more than 100 apps. If you search for Microsoft on the Apple iPad store, more than 100 apps.
What?
What? It doesn't seem possible.
But why are they there?
Because I think that this is a new Microsoft. The rumor is, and this is what stimulated the conversation, that the Galaxy S6, which will be announced in March at Mobile World Congress, instead of having Google apps on it, it's going to have Microsoft apps on it.
That would be pretty huge.
That's a big selling phone, right?
We'll see.
We're talking tens of millions of devices out there. You'll see Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, which, as you say, John, they bought for, what was it, $200 million? $400 million. They bought a Compli, an iOS app.
Yeah.
And they just bought Sunrise, a calendar app, for $200 million. Or was it, maybe it's 201.
They don't have coders that can do these apps in-house?
Most of these 100 apps are, you're going through them. You see all those apps?
I don't know if I'm finding 100 here, but Word,
maybe it's
Bing
60.
Search, Excel.
A title, a count. I did it on my iPad. It's a lot. It's dozens.
We just got from
we
hundreds
got
to
from 100 to
dozens.
a dozen.
It was like 68, okay?
Okay.
Just call me Brian Williams. It's a little bit of an exaggeration. I looked down the barrel of the RPG, and I saw 100. Just a little exaggeration.
I mean, a lot of them are stuff people's probably,
A lot of
MSN,
enterprise.
MSN Food and Drink, Bing Get Me There, MSN Sports, MSN Health and Fitness, Microsoft Dynamics CRM for iPhone.
There you go. There's a lot of business stuff like that.
The Age of Empires Crafting Guide.
Love that game.
I wonder
Ms.
if
Explosion Man.
I wonder if Microsoft is a little worried about the IBM Apple initiative. I mean, here we've got IBM going to their clients and hawking and making iOS apps for them. That was Microsoft's. Those are Microsoft's clients, so it makes sense for them to make sure that their bread and butter is on that.
Well, that's what I find interesting.
Well.
Microsoft is fighting on all fronts, which is historically not a good idea. They're giving away Windows 10 with a Raspberry Pi 2, And they're putting enterprise apps on the Galaxy 6.
I think I think it's really smart to give away Windows 10 in a lot of ways because they had such a misfire with the launch of Windows 8.
Is it kind of an apology?
I think it was just a way to just try to get corporations and enterprises, enterprise users to move to Windows 10. Right. You got the licenses, we'll make it cheap. You're pissed off, Microsoft fan, we'll give you Windows 10 for free. So
have you played with Windows 10? Did you load one? Well, you got Windows 10 there? I don't see that as that radically different than Windows 8.
Yeah.
Well, in what way?
For one thing, it's back to desktop focus. They got rid of the Charms bar, which was really strange, and they've replaced it with a notification center that actually works really well, allows you to customize it with quick launch items. It does look a little bit almost exactly like what Apple's done with OS 10. I think they brought back the start menu, which was a big silly but a pain point for a lot of people, and the start menu works quite well. We like it. And they put Cortana on it, which I think is very interesting. You can talk to it.
Cortana, I'm still not particularly great about talking to my desktop or my laptop. But yeah, I mean, I think it's smart for them to give away the operating system. I think it's smart for them to push really hard on iOS and Android. I think it would be a huge win for them if they got their applications on Android because
on the Galaxy S6 instead of the Samsung Calendar app, which no one wanted, you put Microsoft's Outlook.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Samsung is like the shovelware of Android operating systems. I love their hardware, but Samsung's interpretation of Android drives me nuts.
I agree. This Note 4 is a spectacular phone.
Someone in the chat room pointed out that Windows 10 Enterprise will not be free.
No, in fact, we've said that many times on Windows Weekly. They're giving away Windows 10, but if you're in business, you're going to buy it. And that's a smart move also. You still make money on Windows. They're not giving up revenue.
You're still a big fan of Windows 7.
I am, and I hated Windows 8. And I feel like Windows 10 is back to the mojo that Windows 10 is to Windows 8 what Windows 7 was to Windows Vista. Maybe even more so. Maybe even more so. I'm excited. I like Windows 10.
Okay.
Not having used it, as a full. I'm surprised you use it full time. Is that the new XPS 13 you got there?
No, that's last year's XPS 13. The new XPS 13 is a fantastic piece
have
of
it.
hardware.
I loves it.
Dell send you one?
No, I bought it.
You bought it?
Yeah.
Good man.
He buys everything.
It wasn't that cheap because I was $1140 because I got an i5.
He gets it when it first comes out, so it's always.
They made it available without a touchscreen, which is huge.
And I wanted the touchscreen.
Yeah.
So I got the QHD screen.
Right.
Which hurts battery life, but it's a beautiful screen.
And how come you're not using it here?
I was using it here. Why am I not using it here? Because I hate Windows 8.1 with a passion and a fire that burns like
Throw the technical preview on there. Windows 10 is
from
fun.
that, I'm so tempted to do that.
Do it.
You should.
Do it.
It works.
Nah, it doesn't work that way. It
works fine. You
using that as your production machine?
I've been using it as my production machine since it came out. I've had one blue screen, and it was related to a bizarre app that.
And that can happen to anybody.
Rod's using it as a production machine too. I guess I could.
Yes, you should.
That'd be pretty modern of me to be using a Windows 10 machine.
Yes,
and the Spartan browser, the new browser. Yeah. How do you like that?
I don't think I've actually opened it up yet.
Yeah, I put Chrome on every version of Windows. No matter what.
I've actually been using Firefox a lot again lately. Chrome got so bloated at one point and was just sucking down so much in terms of resources. I started using Firefox.
I'm all in on Google. Maybe you haven't noticed.
Yes,
I am pushed in all the chips.
So why aren't you running a Chromebook?
Yeah.
$200. You know what? There's a very good reason because I cannot get video out of the Chromebook. I have a Pixel, which Google did give me because I went to Google I/O, so that was 2 years ago. I did not buy the Pixel, but you cannot get because it's a weird aspect ratio. It's a 4:3, and Chrome OS does not let us put out anything that our video capture stuff will use. That's a little.
So literally, that is the barrier for you to living a completely Google occupied lifestyle.
No, Skype's the barrier. I need Skype, and there's no Skype on Chromebooks. But you notice all I do on this when I'm on this one is it's all browser.
Right.
Chromebook would be fine for this. Kaspersky, you were the one who introduced me to Kaspersky.
Probably. That was years ago.
Years ago. It was your favorite antivirus. It was started by a Russian guy named Kaspersky.
Eugene
Kaspersky. Do you know him? Do you? No. So Kiev. See, that's how you can tell if somebody's Russian.
Yeah, they can't sneak
you say,
up
hey,
on you.
what is capital of Ukraine?
But that's where the Russian Republic began.
In Kiev.
Yeah.
Is where Khrushchev was from, right?
I don't know.
Wasn't he Ukrainian?
That's all I know. I cut it off at that one piece of information.
Eugene Kaspersky, who still is apparently quite involved with the Kaspersky Labs, was called in by an unnamed bank in, where was it? Was it China? Was called in by an unnamed bank saying, we're a little concerned because our ATMs have been just spewing money at random intervals.
Don't we want to know the name of this bank?
The Kaspersky says we can't tell you. It's NDA. And the bank, of course, ain't going to tell you. But they said the weirdest thing's happening because the ATM will go, all this money comes out, and exactly at that time, some guy comes by and swoops it up in the bag and goes away.
Coincidence?
Coincidence? I think not. What happened is the Kaspersky got in there, discovered that the bank had been co-opted by spear phishing attacks, emails sent specifically to employees of the bank containing malware coming from colleagues saying, oh, you ought to see this video. The malware infected the bank, particularly with a rat, a remote access Trojan, which allowed the bad guys to turn on the cameras. You're the one who says tape them over, right?
Yeah.
Turn on the cameras on all the computers in the bank, get screenshots. They sat quietly for several months observing bank employees, finding out exactly how the operations worked. It turns out the hackers have been active doing this, not just in this bank, but since the end of 2013 in more than 100 banks in 30 countries, and they have scored as much as $1 billion. What they'll do is they'll send in people pretending to be from the bank. They'll co-opt the software in the ATMs. This is going to come out Monday, a security conference in Cancun. New York Times had the article this Sunday, and I was reading it in the Sunday. I get the print Sunday Times?
I used to.
I love it.
It stacks up.
It does, and you can. What's great about it is you can have a barbecue.
Yeah, you'd be having 2 or 3 barbecues a day. That's how much paper stacks up.
It's a lot of paper. In fact, the Sunday Times by itself is like you could make furniture out of it. So very interesting story. There he is. There's Eugene. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's Sergei Golovanov. All these Russians look alike to me. Have you noticed that?
Not really.
They all look alike. I'm being silly, obviously. It was in the Ukraine, of all places. That's where the bank was.
This is where I came in.
This is a circle. But the criminal group includes Russians, Chinese, and Europeans. And the group impersonated bank officers, not only turning on various cash machines, but they also transferred money directly from banks in Russia, Japan, Switzerland, the U.S., and the Netherlands into dummy accounts. Mind-boggling. Kaspersky says, we've seen evidence of $300 million in thefts through clients, but we believe the total could be 3 times that. You know why it wasn't more? Banks did one thing smart. They limited transactions to $10 million each.
No, the thefts were limited to $10 million per transaction.
Yeah.
No, it's because the ATM machine only has so much money in it.
No, it sounds like they were doing wire transfers.
They were doing wire transfers,
well, that's the big dough.
Yeah. No bank has come forward to acknowledge the theft. In fact, President Obama on Friday, he did that security summit right in Silicon Valley at Stanford University. At the time said there should be a law there ought to be a law. When I say that meaningless, when the president says that, it has some weight.
He put out an executive order saying that the end of the stuff.
It's not going to happen anymore. No more hacking.
By order of...
He urged passage of a law that would require public disclosure of any breach that compromised personal and financial information. And we know this very well. You know this. Banks, you know this. We talked to the Secret Service, and they said, oh, this happens all the time, but banks just don't say it because they don't want to
No, it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
The Financial Services Information Sharing and Analysis Center, which is a consortium that alerts banks to suspicious activity, said, quote, our members are aware of this activity. We have disseminated intelligence on this attack to the members, and some briefings were also provided to by law enforcement entities. When the Times asked the American Bankers Association to comment, they said, what those guys said. Nobody wants to comment about this.
I think it's not just embarrassment. I think they could get sued. I mean, they don't want their clients to I don't know.
I think it's also they like, why do banks build big buildings with they used to. Now they're in the mall.
No, now they're
But in the old days,
trailers.
They wanted you have to trust the bank, so they built this giant.
And it used to have a safe where money went, but now it's all
a safe where the money goes. In fact,
there's no money anymore.
We have that bank, the Petaluma, right at the crossroads.
The seed bank.
It's now they sell seeds, but it's got the columns, it's got the big safe.
It's a beautiful building.
They keep the really good seeds in the safe. The heirloom stuff.
No, actually, it's all heirloom seeds there.
It's good.
It's amazing.
It's run by Mennonites.
It's a little
or something?
overpriced. It seems to me that place.
It's all. Just let it go.
I found out the story. No, I found out the story. The seed bank. Because we had looked at that property when we were looking for property. We knew it was $10,000 a month, and we thought, well, we don't want that. So how can you make $10,000 a month and selling seeds,
right?
Which are like 50 cents a packet.
Well, if they're marijuana seeds.
Philip, you nailed it. I asked them. They said, well, we thought that because 2 years ago there was an initiative to legalize marijuana. These guys came all the way out from Ohio. They said, we thought that would pass. And since we are here at the gateway to the marijuana growing
pretty much
area, which is north of us in Mendocino, they said, we thought we would be there. We would sell the primo seeds as the guys were driving up to plant their crops. I swear to God.
Well, it's an interesting theory.
Well, and now they're just in a holding pattern until they do legalize it.
It'll be legalized eventually.
Just a matter of time.
After about 40
What does Adam say about that?
He doesn't really discuss it as much as I do.
What do you say about it?
I think it's a humiliation to the state of California because ever since I was a kid, and then when I went to the University of California, all I heard about for it's going to be legalized, it's going to be legalized, it should be legalized, it's going to be legalized for 20, 30 years. We get the opportunity. We vote no.
I know. What's wrong with California?
And then, meanwhile, Washington votes yes, and Colorado votes yes, and Oregon votes
gay marriage before California did. It's a screwed up state.
No, it's a big state with a diverse.
It's a bunch of talkers,
there's a diverse,
big blowhards.
It's got a diverse electorate. It's got Southern, you got Northern. There really is almost 2 states entirely.
It's more like 3 states.
Yeah. So Apple, by the way, did banned marijuana apps in the App Store for a long time. You could not, but there was this app called Mass Roots. It's back.
Good for them.
So even Apple acknowledges that you got to toke up
a
sometime.
social network for cannabis users.
But there's a twist.
Dude, you have a dating
pizza
called Stoner Meat.
Go ahead.
Hey, man. I met this chick on the stoner site. Oh, I'm sorry, Philip. Go on.
I would go back there, but I forgot my password, man. Go ahead, Philip.
The way that Apple allows it is they use your location to make sure you're in a state where marijuana is legal. Otherwise, or
please,
not just legal. It can't be. Doesn't have to be completely legal. It can be medical marijuana,
which is, by the way, 23 out of the 50 states. I didn't realize it was so widespread.
Well, Massachusetts has medical marijuana, but they have no dispensaries, so it's moot.
Daniel Cooper wrote the best article about this in Engadget. Mass Roots social network for cannabis users contravened Apple's policy of banning apps that promote drug use and had to go. 2 weeks after the decision was made, an army of hemp-wearing advocates had managed to convince the iPhone maker to change its mind.
You sound like that other character. The guy in The Simpsons, that punk guy, what's his name?
It's now legal to enjoy jazz cigarettes for medicinal purposes, making Apple one of those boring squares that just needed to stop being such a narc. Man. Mass Roots teamed up with the professional hopheads at the National Cannabis Industry Association and that beardy guy who lives in a trailer down by the freight yard. What? What? And you're right. It can only be downloaded by residents of those 23 states where it's legal. So it will check your geolocation before you're allowed to get a hit, if you know what I mean.
You do a good stoner voice.
Well, that's many years of practice, man. And then he finishes the article. As a rejoinder, it also vowed to stop treading ash into the carpet and will stop playing the bongos after 11 p.m. on a school night.
Can you say, I thought we'd have a pizza on our time, Mr. Hand?
Yeah, I'm Spicoli, aren't I? That's Spicoli. I thought we'd have a pizza on our time. Yeah, that's who that is. Anyway, mass roots. I don't know how we got into this from the bank
Rare
exploitation.
seeds.
You did it.
The Rare Seeds catalog is amazing.
The seed bank, that's where it came in.
Yeah.
And the whole seed catalog. I highly recommend them.
New York
anyway,
Times.
that place is expensive.
The seed bank.
But you keep looking at me.
Where else are you going to get like heirloom watermelon seeds?
From an heirloom
online,
watermelon.
I bet you could look up heirloom watermelon seeds and get them on here.
Well, but that's the funny thing. If you go to the seed bank, they have a big online presence. That's how they make all their money, is online seed sales. They're just there, poised, waiting for marijuana to be legal.
I got some amazing carrot seeds.
I
Do you buy
rented
seeds? Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Philip.
It's okay. I rented an Airbnb in Barcelona from a guy who I said, "What do you do?" He said, "Oh, I do online sales for a seed company."
That's probably
in Spain. And I said, "Well, they have a lot of online sales." He said, "Yeah, it's all marijuana seeds." So big business.
Maybe that's the same people. So you saw in the promo we talked to this new Google thing. If you go to, I'm not going to do it again, but if you go to the Play Store. And you go to the device section. I think this is everybody. It's maybe not. I've heard they're rolling this out. But if you go to the device section, you click the help button, there's a live chat button. And so we pressed it, and the guy appears. And I asked him, he's in Google, he's in Mountain View. He's like an actual Google.
He appears on the screen?
He appears on the screen. Where you showed the promo. We were talking to him. But I said something. I said, well, this must be Helpouts, right? Because Google has this great Hangouts technology where you can pay an expert of any. They preset the amount to get help in all sorts of things, cooking or playing the guitar or balancing your checkbook. And I said, "Is this Helpouts?" He said, "No." Now I know why. Google's phasing Helpouts out.
They killed it.
They killed it.
Huh.
Which kind of bums me out. I thought this was a great service.
Yeah, Google's really quick on they kill stuff now.
They do, don't they? And do you think this hurts them a little bit? Like people will be reluctant to adopt.
I'm sure they studied it and it found that nobody cares.
Nobody used it.
Well, or nobody cares about them canceling products.
I do because I join every Google product. As you know, I may have mentioned this. I'm all in on Google.
Yes. In fact, I think Patrick pounded that point home.
They killed Google Reader. They killed Latitude, which I use, the location service. They killed Schemer. Remember that? No, you don't. They had a little mustache. Wave. RSS. So Helpouts, which was only 2 years old, is gone. God, it was such a
Google's funny with service. I mean, someone made a business decision early on that it was the numbers were not right. They didn't really want to service all these people.
Right.
And so, if you have a problem with Google or YouTube, it's really difficult to find out how to solve. I mean, basically, you have to Google the earth to find someone else who's had the same problem to find the solution.
Somebody in the chat. I'm sorry. Go on.
Go ahead. That's it.
Someone in the chat room asked about Google Voice. Google Voice is still there and it still works.
There's always been, or not always, but for the last year, there's been a rumor that they were going to kill it, and that would kill me.
I would not like that because I use it for my instant messaging.
I use it for everything.
I use it for a lot.
But I think what's happening with Voice, as it turns out, is it's being merged bit by bit, inch by inch into Hangouts.
Really?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, don't you? I mean, you're still using it for text messaging?
I use it for text messaging.
Doesn't it say to you over and over, you should be using Hangouts?
No. I've never gotten that message.
Really?
No. I use it all the time.
All right. Google Voice is very nice. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll find out why and how one man could have deleted every photo album on Facebook but didn't.
It's thoughtful of him.
Wow.
I think this guy should be celebrated. We should make this guy a hero. Instead, he reported the bug to Facebook. But his name is Laxman. That can't be his real name.
Laxman.
Laxman.
Mm-hmm. Joey Laxman.
Is that Joey Laxman?
Hey,
no, it's
Joey
not. It's
here.
Laxman. No, that's his first name.
Oh, is Laxman's his first name?
Laxman Mutia.
Oh.
We'll talk about this in just a second, but first let me talk about my mattress. Are you happy with your mattress?
Yeah.
Are you happy with your mattress?
Yes.
See, if you guys had said yes, I would have sent you Casper mattresses. If you'd said
free?
no.
Yeah. My mattress sucks.
Yeah, see, too late. No.
Need a mattress for the Airstream.
But I have sent Casper mattresses. Who? Paul Thurrott has a Casper now. Yeah. A lot of our hosts, Steve Gibson has a Casper now. Or Steve declined as well because he said, I don't want a new mattress.
Well, it's probably because it's a pain in the ass to get the old mattress out.
No. Well, I don't know. Maybe. Casper, this is so cool. Show the video. I got my Casper queen size in a box. And it's a box not so big. So this is the first thing. It comes to your door, and you may say, well, I'm not going to buy a mattress online, even though I tell you these are like made in the U.S. They are premium mattresses made out of, they've got they're latex for firmness, and then there's memory foam on top of it, so it gives you a nice comfortable sink and bounce. It comes in a box, that tiny little box. You open it up, it becomes a queen-size mattress. Now, you may say, well, what if I don't like it? Well, you got 100 days to return it. Absolutely painless returns, free delivery, but 100 days. You don't have to lie down in a showroom to try a mattress. You can literally bring it home, jump on it, enjoy that mattress for 99.9 days.
This is you in the video.
Yes. That's me. Well, who else would it be?
It could be anybody.
Who's the
Look at that. And then my dog tried it. My dog liked it. Ozzy loves it. Casper mattresses are super comfortable. We sent one. We sent one to my son, who's he moved out of the dorms into a house, and he was up 3 flights. They couldn't get a mattress up the 3 flights. We sent him the box. It's just beautiful, very comfy. He loves it, and affordable. You're getting premium mattresses made in the U.S. for $500 for a twin, $950 for the king size, and I'm going to give you $50 off if you use the promo code TWIT at Casper, CASPER, Casper.com/TWIT. Use the promo code TWIT to get $50 off. And again, no risk at all. You have 100 days. They'll come and get it if you don't like it. Casper is fantastic. They're cool in the summer. They're warm in the winter. I don't know how they do it. It's like a thermos bottle. It's just brilliant. It's just really well designed and very comfy. Casper. In fact, if you go to the website, you can see how they make it and all sorts of stuff. My new hero.
They don't pick up your old mattress.
No, I guess not. But, it's easy. You just call Goodwill, and they will come and get your old mattress. That's not a problem. They come in a truck, 2 guys, big guys, kind of like you. They pick it up. They take it out. That's what we did. Goodwill takes your mattresses.
Okay.
Too late. You should have said yes.
Yeah, sure.
You should have said, I don't like my mattress, Leo. What could I do to get it better? I'll send you one. You want one?
Sure. My son could use it.
Your son?
Yeah, he's
what size bed does he have?
Big. He's married.
Oh, there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that cost you. No, he wants a queen or a king?
I don't know what the difference
is. They have
is.
California.
King's bigger than
Call
queen.
me back.
Is that always true?
Out.
Yeah.
I thought the California Queen was the biggest.
No, the California King is...
The California King. California Queen's the ones in San Francisco.
There's no... Yes.
Hey, I'm up 2-1.
Does Adam laugh when you say things like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, Leo would think that's funny.
I bet he does. So my new hero, Laxman Mutia, figured out how any photo album that he could view, whether because it was a friend or because it was public, and a lot of stuff on Facebook is public, he could delete. He could delete billions of images. Facebook is now the most popular photo sharing site in the world. Get this, 350 million photos. 350 million photos are uploaded to Facebook every single day.
Aren't they backed up?
Yes.
Facebook blows me away because the scale of Facebook is mind-boggling.
Facebook is to the point where they're building data warehouses for images that are not accessed on a regular basis. They actually archive that data on servers that are powered down in new warehouses they've built. So literally, like, if you go to like a photo book from 2 years ago and there's a half-second delay in the photo,
it's because it's offline.
It's because they're literally pulling it off of the lowest power storage that they can dump it on. Wow, it's amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing
because their energy bills are outrageous.
Well, we'll talk about that because Google now says that everything they do is solar, but we'll get to that.
Well, let's get back to this story.
So 350 million photos a day go to Facebook. Laxman Mutia, who is a security researcher, here's his post on Facebook. OMG, the album got deleted. So I got the key to delete all of your Facebook photos, LOL, various emoticons. Immediately reported this bug to Facebook security team. Good on you, Laxman. They were too fast in identifying this issue, and there was a fix in place in less than 2 hours from the acknowledgement of the report. That is impressive. He did get paid.
If he wanted to delete them all, though, he couldn't just push a button. He'd have to go individually into everybody's account.
Well,
and delete them.
He could write a script.
Yeah, script.
He could distribute it. Nowadays, it's pretty easy to use flaws in the time server, the NNTP time server, or other things to magnify attacks. I bet there's ways he could have weaponized this.
Well, especially if he's the guy who founded it. Usually these guys are...
Well, the truth is he probably could have gotten $1 million from some shady organization to sell him the bug. Instead, he got $12,500 as a bounty from Facebook.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
He's happy. So he's my new hero.
Is that a standard thing? If you find a bug, Facebook pays you?
Yeah. In fact, a lot of companies do that. They have bounties. This is the article from Sophos's Naked Security blog, which, by the way, is one of the best. I really enjoy reading it.
Good title.
Yeah, Naked Security, is that? So thank you, Laxman, for not destroying. Imagine the damage he could have done if he just went through and destroyed all the...
But they must have backups. They could have...
Oh, no. I don't think Facebook backs up. I don't know. You're looking at me. I don't know.
Sense. What kind of an operation is this?
You're going to back up 350 million photos a day?
350,000 or 350 million a day?
Yeah.
That would be a great conversation with somebody from Facebook to have.
Well, I'm sure
they have to back this stuff up.
Probably they have a way of kind of mirroring it, right? So when you upload a photo, they put it on 2 different servers in 2 different locations.
You know, if your little Amazon thing was here, you could ask it, how does Facebook back up all of its photos?
Oh. I have no idea, but you sure are handsome today. Thank you, Alexa. Facebook now has a new feature that you might like, as long as we're talking about Facebook. You can designate an heir to your digital...
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not a member.
No. Oh, you don't have an account?
No.
You should set up an account so you can give it to your kids. The social network will let you designate a, quote, legacy contact for when you pass away. This is being implemented now. I think this is a big issue going bigger all the time, right?
I think so.
When you have, what does Facebook have, 1.5 billion users? There's probably thousands of people die every day on
Constantly.
Facebook.
Probably because they're on Facebook too much. Just dying on this boom head plant.
Google started this a couple of years ago. You can actually designate a digital heir for Gmail, cloud storage. The digital heirs are called inactive account managers. Yes, Leo's inactive.
Dead.
At least he hasn't moved in days.
He could be alive.
I'm always getting invited to link to in LinkedIn to dead people.
Oh,
people I know
how does that happen?
They said, people you might know,
and they've passed away.
Yeah,
it's all
they
automated.
said nobody deletes their account; it's still there.
Well, you're dead. How are you going to delete your account?
Well, you need a legacy manager.
Yeah, for LinkedIn. LinkedIn's falling behind.
So if you do nothing, when Facebook finds out that you've died, I can see Clippy.
They don't find out.
You've been inactive for 3 weeks. Are you still alive? Hello.
It would take
freeze
years.
They've
your
already
account.
assumed I was dead a long time ago.
Here's what will happen. It'll freeze your... Actually, usually this happens because the next of kin says, Leo's gone. They will freeze your account, leave posts and pictures at the privacy settings you determined before you passed away, and they call it memorialization. And then, in most cases, people can continue to post on your timeline, but it's memorials to you, not things like, "Hey Leo, you want to go party?" No advertisements, by the way, on memorialized accounts, because that would be in bad taste. You don't want to see a casket ad.
Casket ad. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we can grind you up and throw you in the ocean.
Do you know Dan Lyons, Philip? You must know Dan.
I've met him a couple times.
Yeah, I've met him. I like the guy. He was 6 weeks ago. He was chosen to become the editor-in-chief of Gawker. He just quit.
He's taking nothing but grief.
He was so funny as fake Steve Jobs.
He was fake Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah, and then he was so terrible at Newsweek as writing straight. And he used to say, in real life I was never as funny as I was as fake Steve Jobs, and his career has been downhill ever since. It's too bad.
It's bad to have success early. Actually, it's bad to have success anytime, because then you'll never. Well, you should die after you get successful, so that you don't have to.
You're
live up
very
to it.
successful. You're running one of the top podcasting networks in the world.
I love you, John.
It's a fact.
I love you so much.
So he quit from Gawker?
Yeah, apparently he's got a bad back.
Got a bad back? What's that got to do with it?
He wrote a post. He said, "I got a bad back and I got a book deal." So
yeah, I got the book deal. Goodbye.
I like Dan a lot. In fact,
who's the new Gawker?
Nobody's been tapped to run Gawker yet.
Well, this isn't Gawker so much as Valleywag, I thought.
No, it's Gawker.
Right.
No, it's Gawker.
No, he was doing. No,
he was doing
Patrick's right.
Okay.
No, you're right. I think it was mostly Valleywag stuff.
Yeah, because Valleywag has this history of just destroying people, and then they leave it.
Oh, you're right. It was Valleywag. I thought it was all of Gawker, so it's not.
No, just mostly Valleywag.
So he posted
in
on.
In fact, he was the only guy posting on Valleywag over the past, I don't know, month.
That's kind of a Valleywag tradition, is having one person.
That would give me a bad back, frankly.
Yeah, so he's writing and writing and writing.
Bad
he's
news,
nothing but flack
he writes, I've been missing in action this week as I've been stuck in bed, heavily doped up, and suffering with two things, the recurrence of an old back injury. Oh, and he got the flu. So that's another reason.
Well, I don't think having the flu is a reason to quit.
Dan,
I got the flu, I quit.
We've been trying to get Dan on Twitter. We'll get him on, I hope, now that he's got a book. His book is called Disrupted. I don't know what it's about, but probably...
Flu. It's about the flu.
Anyway, I love Dan.
But Valleywag's a tough gig because to do it right, you really have to skewer all your friends. And then you don't have any friends left.
Yeah.
So Owen Thomas did it for a long time.
Yeah.
Thomas did well. I think Sam Biddle was good at it.
Sam was the greatest. Did he retire? What happened to Sam?
I don't know. I asked him. I sent him an email, and he never replied. So I don't know.
He's still putting posts. He's still sharing posts anyway. So here's a post from him. The lesbian Jewish leftist conspiracy tearing Reddit apart.
Yeah, that's Sam Biddle?
That's Sam Biddle.
Yeah, that's him. So he's a basher. It's great. It's very entertaining.
I think it's what I admit, and in fact, that's what Dan said on his departure post. It's like the Spy. Like, remember that British magazine Spy?
Wasn't it I Spy
Tatler,
or something like that?
It's that. In fact, of course, it is British inspired because the founder of Gawker, whose name is escaping me at the moment,
Nick Denton is British and
has that kind of standard for journalism. Speaking of passing away, actually, this is much more serious. Kind of shockingly, David Carr, who was really fantastic.
He's a great guy.
Media reporter at the New York Times. He did an event about Laura Poitras's new documentary about Edward Snowden, that featured Poitras, Glenn Greenwald, and Snowden via Skype. Went back to the Times newsroom and died. 58 years old. But I swear to God, this guy was a huge influence on new media, on everything going on in the tech world. He was really great.
Well, he famously was a crackhead who left his daughters in a car while he went in to see his crack dealer, and there was a gun. He wrote a book about it, The Night of the Gun.
You're not revealing anything nobody knows. This is a very
in fact,
amazing story.
Yeah, and he says he had an inbred allergy to beverage alcohol. He would have a drink. If he had one drink, he would be burning coke the next day.
Yeah.
So and it was partly because he was so honest about that. He was he was brutally honest about everything, most of all himself, and he was just wonderful on the media.
I read him religiously. The Night of the Gun was the book that he wrote in 2008 about his addiction to crack. He had twin daughters. One night, shortly after the girls were born, he left them in a car while he went to score some coke from a dealer named Kenny. Anyway, there is a great documentary about the Times called Page One that was made 3 or 4 years ago, in which he features prominently. And so if you want to know more about David Carr and how much he will be missed, that's a great place to start.
He and I were born the same day.
No kidding. September 1956.
September 8th. Well, he was born a few years.
So we're the same age too. I was born November 1950.
No, he was born years before me, but the same birthday.
Okay. He's much, much older than you?
Much younger.
Okay.
And if he's
born years before you, unless my math is off.
No, I know you're right.
Okay. Wow. $1.6 billion. That's what Expedia paid for Orbitz. There now are only 2.
This is happening to the real estate sites, too.
Yeah. How do I get rid of this ad?
No thanks.
You have to
I don't
sign
like
up
about travel data.
Top left.
Wow. That was annoying. People often ask me, why don't you run an ad blocker when you pull up these websites? Because I don't want you to block our ads. So be kind of rude and maybe a little
I use an ad blocker and ad nauseum. You know about this?
What's ad nauseum?
Ad nauseum is the greatest.
That's really a product?
Yes. It's you find it on source.
From the man who gets no spam. He's now the man who gets no ads.
No, I see.
So you block the ads. You use ad block, and you have to use ad block to use ad nauseum. But ad nauseum goes into the background and clicks on every ad in the background to completely screw up all these, algorithms that try to, sell you stuff.
Clicking on ads so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Oh, this is evil.
Totally. It's great.
You only say that, John, because No Agenda is supported by its listeners, not by advertising.
That's not the reason I say it.
Oh.
It's because, I appreciate the differences between advertiser and listener supported. What bugs me is all this clicking and tracking you, and so every time they're trying to outguess you and serve you certain kinds of ads and all this. This is nonsense. It doesn't work anyway, so let's just foil them with that.
Screw with them.
Yeah, screw with them.
Wow. All right. Well, there you go. A little plug for ad nauseum.
It does, but there is a serious point here. It does feel like, people don't look at ads on mobile, but yet whole businesses have been built on them.
Yeah.
And it just feels like something's going to collapse.
It does.
Actually, Adam, I have to say, was brilliant. The last time he was on Twit discussing this whole issue. He talked about banner ads. He said the fundamental issue with banner ads, is there's no scarcity. It's an infinite resource, and so it has zero value because, of course, when there's no scarcity, the value plummets.
Right. Well, you don't use banner ads, and podcasting is a slightly different model.
Well, that's why we'd have a different model.
Like I can't do ad nauseum on the podcast.
You might try.
I can't.
If you vomited on me during an ad, I think I'd stop.
If I vomited you on during an ad. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. That would be and the nauseam. I get it now. I'm sorry. It took me forever. It was
Expedia. It bought Orbitz, which means now it's basically down to Priceline and Expedia if you want a travel agency online. Expedia will acquire all of Orbitz's brands, which includes not just Orbitz but eBookers, Hotel Club, and Cheap Tickets. It's about 29% over the share price, so that's a big premium for Orbitz shareholders.
But they get the list.
They get it all, baby.
Yeah.
So Priceline's been doing the same thing, and it's now pretty much the two of them. So Orbitz, remember, bought Travelocity, and they're going to buy the rest of Travelocity as part of this transaction.
Who owns Orbitz?
Orbitz was created initially by the airlines, wasn't it? I think that was the idea. There was a consortium of a few different airlines that created Orbitz. I don't know who owns Orbitz, as it's being sold.
This is going to consolidate just the way the real estate stuff's going to.
By the way, if you've seen that creepy ad for Trivago with the guy who's got have you seen that ad? Who is that guy?
Run it. Can you find it?
Yeah, I can. It's the internet. I can find anything.
I can find anything.
Trivago has the weirdest ads. By the way, that's owned by Expedia, so don't think you're getting away from Expedia by using the Trivago. This guy.
Online. Did you notice that there's so many prices out there for the exact?
He hasn't shaved.
Well, Trivago does the work for you and instantly compares prices.
Who is this to appeal? Who is this trying to appeal to?
What's wrong with not shaving?
No, you look good, but I'm just saying.
His appeal is to Norton.
Find the ideal hotel.
Why does he talk like this? He feels like a stoner dude you met on the street.
And with 2 clicks, select
and you could just
like Don Johnson with the volume turned down.
Very strange.
I agree. It's a very strange.
It's a weird guy.
It's weird casting.
You agree? Yeah. It's a weird guy.
But it gets your attention, and we're running an ad.
Like the guy in Lost. You're not the guy from Lost, are you? No. Okay. So he's the guy who's saying it's a weird guy.
34 million reviews.
Anyway, that's just Expedia with a different name. I was wondering, where do these guys come from? It's Expedia.
Yeah, you just change your name and
people go, I'll never use Expedia.
I hate Expedia,
that
but
actually
do like
makes sense.
Priceline owns Open Table. Did you know that? They own Kayak.
Oh, groans from the audience.
What? No? Okay.
I like Kayak.
I love Kayak. I didn't realize they were owned by anybody.
I think that's what people were upset about.
TripAdvisor is another one that has a lot of... Who owns Hotels.com? That must be Priceline, right? It feels like a Priceline.
I'm not seeing Hotels.com on the giant list.
Not on the list. Could be
not on the list. Maybe there is somebody. Who owns Aviato? Nobody got that. You got that.
I didn't get it. Explain.
It's a TV thing. You just would understand.
Oh. A TV?
What do you think of Jet.com? About to launch. They're going out of their private beta to a less private beta right now.
Hotels.com became a part of Expedia Incorporated in 2001.
What?
It started as a hotel reservations network, became a part of Expedia Incorporated in 2001, and in 2002 changed its name to Hotels.com.
So the guy who created, was it Quidisi? They were Diapers.com.
Diapers.com.
He built up a big business, and then Amazon went, oh, look, somebody's selling diapers, and they bought him for a lot of money, I think. So a
lot of money in diapers.
A lot of money in diapers.
Yeah, it's a crappy business.
So he started a new business. It's called Jet.
Oh, you got 5 words out before you got
That's
it.
good.
Funny.
It's called Jet.com. The shopping club reinvented. They're going straight after Amazon, obviously. $50 a year instead of $99 for Amazon Prime. They will have some household goods, 3 warehouses, but most of it, they're going to be a middleman for retailers, and they'll just provide the interface to retailers.
Good luck.
They just raised, what was the story? They just raised some huge amount of money.
Yeah, the kiss of death.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to raise a lot of money.
Near $600 million.
$600 million. $600 million. I wonder, though, how much of this, that's their valuation. I wonder how much of this is people thinking, oh, well, Amazon will just buy them as soon as they become successful.
I'm sure that thought is in the air.
Yeah, Mark Lohr, that was his name. He started the diaper site.
I like their T-shirts.
They're purple. Jet.
$140 million in new clothes.
That's more. Amazon never raised anything like that. I mean, this is big bucks. Google Ventures, Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, but Amazon.com did this weird thing where they just started making money.
Yeah, that makes it different. Well, or he's selling a lot.
I mean, it's kind of crazy.
A lot of cash flow.
Google started making money. Kind of crazy.
Jet's not made any money yet.
But they've gotten like over $200 million in venture capital funding.
You know who's got a lot of money? How much do you think? Well, you just look at the headline.
It says right there.
How much do you think Candy Crush made in in-app purchases in 2014?
I'm guessing about $1.3 billion.
You would be right, sir. Holy, come on. $1.3 billion in in-app purchases.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
For color bombs and lollipop hammers.
Yes.
And it's still
the world's gone insane.
It's still only the 3rd highest grossing app in the United States.
What's the highest too?
I think Clash of Clans is #1. So it's more. That'd be more than that amount of money. Candy Crush Soda Saga is 6th overall.
I still play Angry Birds.
Angry Birds right in there.
I
Top
never
10.
paid a nickel.
You never paid a nickel. Yeah, no, you can actually, some games, not all, but some. Candy Crush Saga, you have 2 choices. You can either annoy your friends on Facebook or pay money.
I don't have Facebook friends. I'm not a member.
You're not on Facebook, so you can't even play. You're not allowed to play Candy Crush.
I can't do anything, apparently, because you know what bugs
Join
me
Pinterest.
the most? What bugs me the most is you go onto some website. In fact, the USA Today's this way. I would like to leave a comment. Please sign in with Facebook. I'm not a Facebook member. I want to leave a comment on USA Today, but
They'll get you.
I have to sign in.
Eventually, they're going to get you.
No.
No, when they go to voting, you have to be Facebook to register to voting.
That, what you said is frighteningly close to the
truth. It's going to be Apple because Apple went to meet.
I'll sign up for Apple, but not Facebook.
Wow, you're pretty adamant about that.
Yeah, I'm getting more adamant.
Why don't you just create a phony account on Facebook and just use that?
I've thought about that. I've thought about that.
Don't put anything real in there.
Nah.
Do like ad nauseum for Facebook, where you put a lot of you game them. You game them.
Nah. For one thing, I think in the terms of service it says you can't do that,
Probably
and I
does.
only obey terms of service.
I know you're so
when it
serious.
says something, I go. I'm all in.
I do not want to end this show. I'm having way too much fun, but I suppose we have to. Drone rules. Should we end with that, or do you care?
I'm excited about actually.
FAA has proposed rules.
This is because of you.
No, because it's only for commercial use. For non-commercial use, there's still no rules. And I would point out that the FAA has no enforcement arm whatsoever. So they can say whatever they want. You can't. It's not. What are they going to do? But these are proposed rules. They say we're gonna ask for 60 days of comment, and then it's going to take us as much as a year and a half to figure out what all those comments mean, and then we'll decide whether these.
Well, I mean that's kind of a standard pace for something like this, where like requests for comments.
2 years?
That sounds right. Because the whole scene could change in 2 years.
So
for 50 drones that are 55 pounds or lower, it has to be the big thing that's got people up in arms is it has to be line of sight.
You cannot fly it somewhere you can't see it.
Yeah,
and only during daytime hours. No more night flights.
And that kind of, and Chris Anderson's operation. I wonder what he thinks of this, because he has, what his drone company is all about. The guy, former editor of Wired.
Yeah.
He's got a drone that you program with an iPad, and you tell you where you want it to go, and it goes around, takes a bunch of pictures, and then comes back home on its own. You push the button, off it goes. Line of sight is over.
Non-commercial, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're basically leaving it as a free-for-all for non-commercial operation.
Right. They're considering creating a separate category for very small drones under 4.4 pounds that will allow operators to fly over people. You can't fly over people.
Well, that's part of. Do you all have zone? Do you all have?
Oh yeah, don't you?
No, and I want one for Christmas.
Okay, Christmas.
I got one. How about get one tomorrow?
Go to Amazon, get a Hubsan X4, and get the 5-pack of 10 batteries. Cool. I got
one of those.
And they sell a little propeller guard, and then just start with that.
Or a SYMA, S-Y-M-A.
How much does that cost?
$40.
Yeah, I think I'm all in for $80 with like 5 batteries and a spare charger.
But
Oh, I'm going to do that.
You'll want to buy extra batteries because as soon as you start flying it, you'll be like 7 minutes, and then I'm going to go recharge it. So what you do is you get an inexpensive one that you can beat the snot out of. You get an extra.
Or lose the first time you fly it because it goes straight up and never comes down.
You might want to start flying inside your house for just that reason.
It'll stick on the ceiling.
Amazon Prime, however, is still grounded. The FAA has not approved commercial delivery services.
Good.
Under the rules, it's almost impossible to operate delivery drones.
Good.
That's okay. Because all I could think of as soon as I saw that video is like, how many people are going to be stealing Amazon drones?
Somebody has to invent a non-lethal drone shotgun.
Why?
So you can take them out of the sky.
Yeah, you want to take these things down.
Like rubber bullet for drone guns.
I think it should shoot a net.
A drone net, like Batman.
Net. Yeah. And then you bring
and then you could control it with your own controller if you stole theirs.
That's actually the Hack 5 crew did a pretty funny one with the Parrot AR, where they basically flew their drone over it, and it basically took over the Wi-Fi controls.
Oh,
that's a good idea.
And then they can either fly away with
and
it
they take
or drop
it
out of the
It's
sky.
like a tractor beam.
They can
just take it
like
with
a James Bond movie. The thing comes down with some suction cups, and it grabs the thing and takes it home. With more
Am I being hysterical when I'm saying I'm worried about the proliferation of drones? I feel like there's going to be a lot of drones, like there's going to be drones everywhere, and they're going to be coming out, falling out of the sky like snow.
It's going to be like
and they're going to be
CB
clonking me in the head. I'm going to have to wear a helmet.
Well, the thing is, like, it's not going to be like CB radio because generally speaking, CB radios were not flown over your backyard.
Well,
like,
but
if
it's
a
going to
CB
be
radio
popular,
ended up in
I'm
your
talking
backyard,
about the popularity, not the model.
They won't work like CB radio.
And by the way, I think the idea of getting really good at these drones, and then when somebody's walking down the sidewalk by your house, just sending the drone out and just having it buzzing around behind them. Don't you think it'd be kind of funny?
I'm watching.
It would be kind of funny, but it's also.
So, Chris, are you worried or not worried? He's 17, so he's a young person.
Yeah, he's already followed people around with his drone.
Do you follow people around with your drone?
What I was saying is I've done that.
Yeah.
You see people walking their dogs, and you fly it up right behind them.
He's the problem.
And you start forcing people to want to regulate drones.
Well, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, is that your goal?
I think you get a little speaker on the phone, and then
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you my reason for wanting to regulate drones after this commercial from Esurance. I don't mind my commercials, but please, do I have to have commercials on YouTube? Really?
Can't you speed it up?
No, you can't. You can't skip it.
Just enjoy the commerce, gentlemen.
This is why I believe.
There you go.
This is why I believe drones need to be
we
regulated. We showed this before on Twitter, but I
Hit
can't
the guy
resist
right in
it.
the head.
That's his brother. He gave his brother a football helmet and said, "Look, you stand out in the field. We're going to put Roman candles on this drone
This is going to be
and
my
shoot
sons.
at you."
This is totally going to be my sons in like
This is
10
what
years.
boys do.
Yeah.
Watch. We'll get the video from his point of view.
You see the forest fire.
This is
Ow!
Great.
So here's the question: What incident will it be that causes such an outrage that these things get outlawed?
Got a drunk guy flying a drone over the White House. That didn't cause. I mean,
was he
surprised
drunk?
Yeah, he was. It was 2 a.m. He was a federal employee, by the way. Ironically,
A contractor.
a contractor for a federal agency which shares geolocation information with other spy agencies. And he, I guess at 2 a.m, just kind of got a wild
I guess he's like
hair up.
drunk in his buddy's house
Yeah.
and decides to see if he can fly the drone over to take a picture of the White House and hits a tree.
Still a Tony.
And that didn't do it. I think you know what'll happen. It's going to be a
DJI
major.
freaked out. They're like, you can no longer use GPS and positioning over.
Well,
it's like, okay, so what about the billion drones that don't require
They announced
DJI
firmware
interface?
that would keep you from doing that, and then they pulled back because I guess it broke the drone or something. But they had a firmware update that wouldn't let you fly a drone in downtown D.C. But then I've been told by the chat room they pulled it back. I think what's going to happen, I believe, is somebody's going to weaponize a drone and use it during a major sporting
These
event.
kids already did that. Didn't you see that video?
Something like that. But what if instead of shooting at their brother, they flew it over the Super Bowl? That's going to be a big furor. And that's going to happen, don't you think?
With all due respect, if somebody's going to blow up the Super Bowl, they're going to do it however they're going to do it. They're going to bring it in beverage carts.
right,
They're going to bring it in people. They're going to bring it in a backpack. They're going to put it in a belt.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to do it.
Maybe they can do it at this new stadium that they're having it at next year. That would be a plus.
You mean the one in Santa Clara that the 49ers just built?
Yeah, the one they can't win in? That one?
That one. Black Sunday, that's right. Or what was the movie? Was it Batman? Yeah, the last Batman movie where they're playing a football game and the whole field collapses because Bane somehow has figured out how to change how the Earth works.
Yeah, he changed physics.
He somehow figured out
Fantastic.
how to undermine an entire football field. With
I mean, Black Sunday was somebody talking about.
I'm Bane.
Kill the podcast.
All right, we're done. I knew I should have ended this before that
you
story.
gotta leave him wanting more.
Philip Elmer-DeWitt, I think you're the greatest. Thank you so much for being here. One of the elder statesmen. I hope you don't take that wrong of tech journalism. You've been around for a long time, and you're almost as old as Dvorak. Hey.
I'm 65. How old are you, John?
I don't know.
He doesn't talk about it.
Old enough to know better.
He and I are similar age. But it's great to have you. Thank you, Philip. You can catch his stuff in Fortune. And he wanted to give out his email address. That's something people don't usually do on this show. ped@mac.com. I hope you've got your filters loaded.
Dinner is almost ready, so you better wrap this up.
We're done. Goodbye. Have dinner. But wait a minute. But wait. What's for dinner?
Margo, what's for dinner?
Because I'm kind of hungry. I'm a little peckish.
Ravioli.
Oh, my favorite. I'll be right there.
Have you gone up to the Occidental Hotel and get those raviolis?
Yeah.
No, are they
You've
good?
never been to the Occidental?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
They're
You
a
guys been
tradition.
holding out on me?
No. Come to the Chop
Occidental
Down.
Hotel ravioli are really
Well,
good.
you can actually buy them to go, and that's what you want. They're like, a
And stop
Molinari's
at the
only
bakery
bigger
in
and
Freestone
really
on the way up.
outstanding. They're delicious. And they're old-fashioned.
I do love that bakery in Freestone. Those cinnamon buns, that'll kill you. That thing's as big as your head.
Yeah, wildflower bread.
Wildflower. So good.
All right, I'm sorry. You were saying noagendashow.com. John Dvorak, thanks for being here. You're a fantastic guest.
Exactly.
Think. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's always a pleasure.
I miss you. You should come by more often.
Well, I should.
I'm sorry I touched
Get
you
some
there.
more
I
lenses.
lost my head.
No
you
touching.
may keep the 75 millimeter for a little while longer, not
Okay.
forever.
Whenever you want it back, it's yours.
But it is a great lens.
It is a great lens. I agree.
And you have the little pen camera. It probably looks funny on that little camera.
It does. I know it's huge. I actually have some big giant lenses I put on this thing, so the camera's a little bit ether.
Looks like he's using a lens, not a camera.
Yeah.
Just shooting with a lens. Yeah. Patrick Norton, Tech Thang. Do that Tech Thang, TEKTHING.com if you want to know more and contribute to their Patreon and keep Patrick in diapers.
Yes.
No, all the kids are out of diapers now.
We're at the tail end of potty training.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's the highlight. When you have a couple of kids, when they're both out of diapers, it's really nice. When they're both in diapers, not so good.
We spaced them out. We got used to no diapers and sleeping through the night, and it felt so good. We decided to have another kid.
Yeah. Then you're gonna lose your mind, don't you? Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We do This Week in Tech every Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2300 UTC. You can watch it live.twit.tv. Please do. We love your chat room interactions. If you're live, please go into the chat room so we can talk back to you. But if you can't, on-demand audio and video always available after the fact at twit.tv or wherever you get your podcasts like iTunes. We have great apps. Can't take credit for them. All designed by talented third-party developers. iOS, Android, even Windows Phone, Roku. You can watch on your big screen TV if you want. If you want to be in the studio, we got a great studio audience. Really nice to have you all. Just email tickets at twit.tv. We'll put out a chair for you. If you get here early, you get the comfortable chair. The rest of you, sorry. I don't know where we got those. It must be Costco or somewhere. Those are just not comfortable chairs. I apologize. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Another Twit.
It's amazing.
Yay! Woohoo!